Hello and welcome to the JB&M Sports Fanatic channel. What's good with you? And so here we go, Sunday night football. We've got the Bears versus Packers. You want to talk about rivalry? This is one right here. And so certainly looking forward to seeing how these two teams are going to square up against each other. Obviously a long history between these two teams. It doesn't get any better than that. But what's good with you guys? And so we've got Mike here. Mike says, yo, JB Nation, what's good with you, Mike? Meanwhile, for the Packers, they snapped the ball there from their own 25-yard line. Going to give it to Aaron Jones, and he's going to pick up about a good 3 yards on that play. But there is a penalty. There is a penalty. Let's see what the penalty is. And so Lewis says, let's go bear down. And so what's good with you, Lewis? What's good with you? And so Mike says, JB, let's go Bears. Tell JB Mac look kind of good today. Appreciate that. You said little Mac 10. And so Jay, what's good with you, Jay? What's good with you? And you say, what a football Sunday. That it is indeed. And so 80s, what's good with you? 80 says his head is killing him, lol. And so, I mean, you partied a little too hard yesterday, but definitely understand that. And so 80 says, Jay, so many great games today. And Jay says, sorry to hear that, 80s. You're under the weather. And so, more like you had a little bit too much to drink yesterday. More like that. But that's okay. That is okay. All right, but here we go, guys. And so after the penalty, we've got Aaron Rodgers up under center here. Receiver goes in motion, takes a snap. Going to give it to Aaron Jones off the right guard. And he's going to take the ball to about the 48-yard line. So picked up some yards on that play. They're going to pick up 4 yards on the carry. And let's see. Lewis says, loaded and ready. So Lewis is ready. He says, Braden looking for his jersey. Calling Braden out. Let's see. All right, let's fix things. Lewis, let me know if that fixed things. So appreciate you for letting me know. All right, but here we go for the Packers again from their own 47-yard line here. Two receivers, two tight ends in the back, and they're going to fake it to Jones. Rodgers throws it, and it is caught by the receiver over the middle, and that's going to be to about the 40-yard line of the Bears with that reception. And that is Sammy Watkins. You know, you almost forget he's on the roster there, but Sammy Watkins with the reception. And so John Muller, what's good with you, John? How are you doing, John? How are you doing? Let's see, Mike says more like under the wagon. And so, Braden, how nice of you, Braden, to show up here, Braden. But glad to have you here. How are you doing? How are you doing? All right, but here we go here for the Packers. In the shotgun formation. Takes the snap. Going to give it to A.J. Dillon, his first carry of the game, and he's going to pick up 3 yards on the carry. 2nd and 7 coming up here from the Bears' 36-yard line. Again, that combination of Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, a deadly combination. And so John says better. Appreciate that. Braden says sound better. And so Lewis says he took the under for this game. Okay, bet. So he wants to see a lot of defense. Braden says 6 and 7 in your pick'ems this week. Okay, bet. And John says Packers. And so, okay, bet. And so 80 says Packers 38, Bears 17. All right, so he's going for a lopsided victory here for the Packers. I'm speaking of Packers, though. Here they go for the Bears 36-yard line. Rodgers in the shotgun. Gonna throw it and incomplete. That time probably miscommunication between him and A.J. Dillon on the play. That's gonna bring up 3rd and 7 here. And so let's see. Jay says Packers field looks in great condition. Take a hint, Soldier Field. So Jay taking shots towards Soldier Field out there. And so John says Corey Dillon. And so good old Corey Dillon. And so Braden says facts, Jay. But again, 3rd and 7 coming up here for the Packers. And so can Aaron Rodgers get the first down here? Again, Aaron Rodgers, you know, he said he owns the Bears. Let's see if that's true. Takes the snap, throws it, and that's going to be completed there to Alan Lazard. And that's going to be a first down. He needed 7 yards. He got 8 yards with that reception. Again, first drive of the game here for the Packers. And already converting on some 3rd downs. Mike says Cooper Rush got it done. Can't believe it. Did you watch JB? The Bengals 0-2, and so yeah, I see the Bengals 0-2. I really, outside the Patriots and Steelers game, I was watching a lot of that Dolphins and Ravens game as well. That was a pretty exciting game today. I was shocked that Tua threw all those touchdowns and that they came back in the fashion that they did against the Ravens. I mean, that was a thriller as well. Meanwhile, they're going to give the ball to Dillon, and Dillon up the middle will pick up a yard on the carry, but the Bears defense bears down and stops him on that carry. A yard or two on the play. Second down coming up. Let's see. Braden says crazy NFL Sunday. Mike says Soldier Field is the nicest field that over 100 years old. 80 says still can't believe the Cowgirls and Bengals. Let's see. Jay says 2 of 6 touchdowns. Best believe that would have messed up some things in fantasy football, but a lot of people had Tua on the bench, including myself. He was on the bench, but of course I got Josh Allen tomorrow, so you can't blame me for not starting Tua in that matchup. Meanwhile, Rodgers takes a snap out of the shotgun, and A.J. Dillon is slung to the floor. And it's Blackson with the tackle in the backfield. Going to lose some yards there, about 2 yards. So now we got 3rd and 10 coming up. 3rd and 10 coming up here from the Bears. 28-yard line so far on the drive. 8 plays, 47 yards so far. And so let's see. Mike says, JB, how good is Tua? Can they give my Bills the challenge that they want? And so honestly, Mike, I am waiting until Miami plays Baltimore to figure that out exactly. But I mean, wow, you look at those guys that he had the yards after the catch, insane. There's 2 speedy receivers. I mean, I really want to see how their offense is going to look against the Bills defense, and that will tell me personally how good Miami actually is and stuff like that. But it goes to show the potential that if Tua goes out there and looks like the quarterback Miami drafted him to be, that's the potential that that offense has. So I feel like they are better than they were last year. And again, we have a timeout called here by the Packers. That's their first timeout here of the game. And again, this is the first drive of the game here by the Green Bay Packers with the football here in the first quarter with 10 minutes and 10 seconds to go in the first quarter. And again, all tied up 0-0 right now. Let's see, 80 says, I got NFL Red Zone, and it's awesome. No commercials. They switch between all the games, so there's always action. The best $10 a month I ever spent. And so, yeah, I mean, honestly, since, I can't get NFL Direct TV, so I can't watch specifically all the Patriot games. So since I can't do that, I generally would just keep it on NFL Red Zone, especially for the earlier games throughout the day. Especially, it's a great way when you're watching your fantasy football teams and you just want to know what's going on everywhere. And so I do appreciate NFL Red Zone and them switching between who's moving the ball there. So absolutely underrated. Agree with that. All right, here we go for Rodgers out of the shotgun, fresh off the timeout. He's moving around. He's directing traffic. He throws it, and looks like it was completed. In my opinion, it looks like that was a catch, that the ball was just ripped out, and that is correct. It was a catch there. That's a first down. That's a first down. He definitely made what they call a football move after that catch. And there you can see he's got the ball. He's got the ball moving around, moonwalking, steps out of bounds there, has the ball all the way to going to the ground there. That's a catch. Now they snap the ball. Wait a second. There's some penalties out there. All right, that's going to be false start on the offense. False start on the offense. Let's see. Jay says NFL Red Zone is the goated way to watch on Sunday when not watching your team. 1,000% agree with that, Jay. 1,000% agree with that. And you said, what a throw. But yeah, I mean, I was happy my Patriots won, but then I looked and I saw the Dolphins found a way to win. I looked and I saw the Jets found a way to win, and I was like, dang it. I needed at least one of them to lose, but I was like, dang it. All right, but here we go, guys. Shotgun formation here. 2 receivers, 2 tight ends in the back. Take the snap, quick pass there. Hits the receiver on the hand, but unfortunately, Romeo Doubs was not expecting the pass so quickly, so incomplete. Again, Aaron Rodgers still trying to get on the same page as these young receivers. And as the season goes on, you best believe that these young receivers will come more and more along with it. Mike says, I ain't got that kind of cheddar. 80s. Here we go. 2nd and 15 coming up. Again, here in the first quarter, 9 minutes and 23 seconds to go. Still first drive of the game here. You've got Two receivers, two tight ends, and a running back. Snaps the ball here. Rodgers looking. Gonna throw it, take his shot, and that's incomplete. Alan Lazard, a receiver he was intending for there. Not a bad pass, but a great break up there by the defensive back. 3rd and 15 coming up. Mike says, any cheap way to her red zone? Lewis says he wants a field goal here. I guess my question is OBJ going to sign with anybody anytime soon? And did you guys see Tom Brady throw yet another tablet, guys? Like, gee. At some point, if I'm the tablet, I'm gonna be like, look, you guys gonna stop doing this, or else we're just not gonna use you guys at this point. But Rodgers snaps the ball, 3rd and 15. He's in the pocket, moving around, and oh, he's met by the DN on the edge there. Got him, and that is Gibson there with the tackle, with the sack, and so 4th down coming up. And I know for the Bears especially, anytime they get a sack on Aaron Rodgers, best believe they're gonna let him hear it. Let's see, Mike says, it's like Tyson in his prime. I don't expect the Dolphins to win, just last a few rounds for entertainment. Jay says, I'm watching on Peacock and it's way more in sync with you, JB, compared to NBC. Really? Interesting. Okay. Meanwhile, field goal is up, and the field goal is good from 55 yards. And so Mason Crosby connects with that. I'm sorry, that's a 40-yard. I don't know why it said 55-yard. That's a 40-yarder. But that is good. Let's see. Mike says, my spell check makes get to her. And then Mike says, what happened in that Saints game? And so, yeah, so, I mean, obviously the Buccaneers won, but the Buccaneers got some real problems going on. That's why I did not draft Tom Brady in fantasy football. I specifically had the chance to do that in fantasy football. I opted not to. Because I was a little bit concerned about him and Joe Burrow. I didn't think Joe Burrow could replicate the success he had last season. Not saying that I thought he was going to be bad or nothing like that. I still think he's going to be good. But I did see some struggles last year in the regular season. So I was like, maybe he's not a regular season quarterback like that. But Brady, I mean, they're giving Brady the Wednesday off every single day for the rest of the year. Brady's going to get Wednesdays off. What does that tell me? That tells me that Tom Brady's got some serious stuff going on at home right now, and it's really getting to him at this point. And so, yeah, the Buccaneers, they won the matchup there. They did find a way to win. Very resourceful. But Brady was not happy at all throughout the game. I mean, every time you look, he was out there getting in somebody's face and all like that. Him and Lattimore, they were going at it and stuff like that. And then obviously you had Leonard Fournette step in, Mike Evans come in. They got thrown out the game, all that stuff. All kinds of craziness. But what did that tell me? Two things I learned today in fantasy football. One, don't put your faith in Russell Gage. And the other, with the Colts, Paris Campbell's just not going to get the football. That's just simple. He's not going to get the football. So that's two things I learned today in fantasy football for this season. But yeah, Mike, that's what happened in that Saints game. And let's see. Braden says Dubs was wide open. Mike says, JB, if you do poll, ask if Rodgers is a fraud. Let's see. Jay says the red zone on DirecTV is different compared to the red zone on any other service. Scott Hansen version is way better. And then Lewis says Brady needs to retire. I mean, he does if he values his family life, and I guess he does. Mike says Brady sleep on the couch. And so, isn't that something to be a GOAT and still have to sleep on the couch? All right. All right, real quick. All right, so we got to see the Packers offense. They came out there, they did move the ball, but ultimately they settled for the field goal, got 3 points, and now it's the Bears' time. Let's see what they do. They're going to return the kick here. He's at the 20, 25, brought down at the 29-yard line of the Bears, and that's where they will start off. Let's see. Jay says, I might drop Brady for Jared Allen on fantasy. I'm not kidding. I also have St. Brown, so double points. I got St. Brown as well. And I remember in Yahoo Fantasy, that was the pick that they did not like that I made. And it was like, they said something along the lines of, you must know something that everybody else doesn't know, blah, blah, blah. Well, I mean, he went out there and balled out. As long as Jared Goff is healthy, then Amar St. Brown is going to ball out there. Him, and as long as you got Swift healthy as well, then I like the Bears. I'm sorry, I like the Lions for fantasy football purposes in that scenario if everybody's healthy. But they need everybody to be healthy for them to really be at their best. Meanwhile, Bears going to snap the ball here, going to give it to Montgomery off the right side here, and he's going to pick up 4 yards on the play, taking it to the Bears 33-yard line. We got 2nd and 6 coming up. And let's see, Braden says Packers vs. Bears 2018 comeback. Black Mesa says the fighting gastric bypasses are prime for a comeback, or should I say a comeback? All right, meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and post the poll up there. Who you guys got, Bears or Packers in this one? All right, here we go, guys. Fields up under center, went back in the backfield, takes a snap, gives it to the back again. And this time, Montgomery with some room to work. He's still on his feet here. And it's him versus defensive back there. And so he picked up 12 yards on the carry, taking it all the way to the Bears' 45-yard line. So Montgomery there with the carry. That time, give credit to the offensive line there for that run blocking there. And great job by Montgomery to find that opening. All right, so far, the Bears are off to a strong start here in this one. Mike says his hope is this goes deep into overtime and JB is up to 3 a.m. Mike. Meanwhile, Fields was not able to handle the snap, and so he was able to pick it up though. But that is going to be, I'll call that a lucky break there. So he lost a yard on that play there, but that could have been way worse there for the Bears. Again, you cannot make those kind of mistakes in this kind of a matchup. Let's see. Mike says, why OT in 22? Jay says, Montgomery usually does well against the pack. And then Mike says, I mean, why ties? Braden says, this poll is garbage. And so, oh boy, good old Braden. Jay says, I miss watching Matt Forte. Lewis says, Colts are sorry, man. And so Mr. JB's not going to like that comment there, Lewis. He's going through a lot. He's going through a lot. All right, but we got a timeout called by the Bears, guys. So there's a timeout called by the Bears here, and they're facing 2nd and 10 right now from their own 46-yard line. Again, they trail 3-0, but this is their first drive of the game right now. Here in the first quarter with 7 minutes and 6 seconds to go. Let's see, Mike says, JB, I mean, we just want to hang out longer. And so I appreciate that, Mike. And Mike's like, yeah, why ties? Solution, JB. And so the solution's simple. It's very simple. I mean, just get rid of the whole quarter part in overtime. Both teams get the football once. And then after that, unless somebody scores a touchdown outright, I guess, first time, but both teams get the football after that, just keep playing until somebody wins. It's just that simple. And so, Golf Productions, what's good with you? What's good with you? You say, hey, don't know if you remember me, but my old name was Vikings New Age. And so, of course, I remember you. How is it going? It's been a minute. It's been a minute here. Been a minute, but how is it going? And so I know life has got to be feeling good right now. Obviously, you guys got the W last week against the Pack. And this week you're playing the Eagles on the road. And so Justin Jefferson, he got off to a great start. And the kid's looking like he's going to be even better this year than last year. So I'm excited to see what he's doing and just wishing that I had him in at least one of my fantasy football leagues. I was wishing for that. And so, Ben, what's good with you? You say, I can't decide if the Browns or Raiders choked harder. And so I honestly would say, I mean, what the Browns did, it felt like when it happened, like I didn't realize it happened until it was like done. But honestly, between the two, I gotta say Raiders. I had higher expectations for the Raiders, and so what they did to the Cardinals of all teams, and so that was a hard choke there. Let's see. Mike says, I am doubting Tom JB. If I had to see you do Baker for myself, he is as bad as everyone says and worse. And so Black Winston says, I saw Patterson from Montgomery. That won't happen again. You sat Patterson from Montgomery. That won't happen again. Let's see. R. Montgomery for Patterson. And so, okay. You sat Montgomery for Patterson. Ouch. Let's see. Jay says, can't wait for the games tomorrow. And so they have some very nice ones tomorrow. I need Josh Allen to ball out for my fantasy football team, and I need Buffalo defense to be as stout as they was against the Rams. Otherwise, that means I made some mistakes previously. So I really hope that the Bills can bail me out in fantasy football tomorrow night. All right, but here we go, guys. Coming back from the timeout here, Justin Fields in the shotgun. It's a flea flicker. Fields throws it, caught by the receiver, and he's still running all the way down to the 25-yard line. And we talked about Amar St. Brown for Detroit. Well, this is his brother with the reception here. And so he got he got 30 yards taken all the way to the Packers 25-yard line. And so last week he got into the end zone. I think that was his only catch. If not, he might have had one more catch last week as well. But yeah, the St. Browns are taking over. If you don't know who they are, find out. Find out. He's got a very complicated, unique first name, though, so I won't try to say that. All right, but here we go, guys. Fields up under center. Here, going to toss it to Montgomery off the right side. And Montgomery, look at Montgomery go. You can see the juice in this man's legs. Picked up a good, solid pickup on the play. 9 yards here. Here we go. Again, 5 minutes and 25 seconds to go here in the first quarter. They're hurrying back up to the line, though. Hurrying back up to the line. They're already at the 12 of the Packers here. Going to give it again to Montgomery. Off the right side again. They see something off the right side there. And a nice pickup on the play. All right, so here we go, guys. 2nd and 1 coming up. And they're about 3 yards away from getting to the end zone. Will the Bears get the first touchdown of the game here? All right, let's see where we're at right now. Let's see. All right, so 80 says, picking up my food. Since Bojangles is too far, Golf Production says it's going well. Great way to start the season. And so, I bet. How is Dalvin Cook looking this year? All right, well, here we go for Fields up under center here. Multiple tight ends. One receiver, one back in the backfield. Play fake. Fields on the move. He's going to run. He's going to scramble, and he's going to get there. That's a touchdown for the Bears. So how about that? How about that? Chicago showing that they could be for real this year. 7 plays, 71 yards, in about 4 minutes in terms of time of possession off the clock. Again, their first drive of the game resulting in a touchdown on the road down here at Lambeau Field. And so that time, Justin Fields, he may not have Lambeau leaped, but he did dive into that end zone for a touchdown. How about that? Wow. And so let's see. Lewis says, cheers, 80s. Mike says, new age, you and 80s are in direct competition. Mike says, Flacco was great. That's what got me on the fact that he was great today. Meanwhile, extra point is up, and that is good. So the Bears are up 7-3. Both teams scored their opening drive. The difference is the Bears got a touchdown, and the Packers came away with 3 points here. And so we'll get to see Green Bay again for the second time offensively. But, man, impressive drive there by the Bears, especially on the ground on that drive there. Especially on the ground. David Montgomery, 4 carries for 38 yards so far on that drive there. So he looked great there. I saw some elusiveness there, some power. I saw a little bit of everything. I like what I saw. And let's see. All right, so, old man, what's good with you? And so let's see. Old man says, what does old man say? He says, what's good, JB? Everything is good. What's good with you? And so Braden says, shake his head. He says, hey, old man. Old man says, hopefully Allen throws 5 picks and the Bills give up 7 touchdowns. So, really wishing on my fantasy football team downfall, I see. Braden says, former Packer. Mike says, chat, how many more than 10 touchdowns will Josh Allen get? Let's see. Braden says, EQ Brown played for the Packers. And so, okay, bet. And so Old says, Packers, you need a better receiver. Throw New England a third, and you can have Parker. And so, yeah, I'm not seeing any type of chemistry right now between Jones and Parker. Over the last 2 weeks, his interceptions are coming because he's trying to force Devontae Parker to football, and they're just not on the same wavelength. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But he looks much better throwing the ball to Nelson Aguilar. I will say that. And so let's see. Golf says, it wasn't good for my fantasy football team since quarterback was Trey Lance. Ouch. Yeah, I did see that. And guys, that injury for Trey Lance, I mean, you hate to see that for anybody. You really do. But I mean, he obviously was out there trying to just show that he is the guy. And yet again, it's looks like a bad injury for him there, and so he had to be carted off the field, and so that was very tough to see. But Jimmy G came in, and Jimmy did his thing. Jimmy did his thing, and so that was interesting. I got Debo Samuels, and now that Jimmy's back in there, I feel more confident having Debo Samuels now, knowing that Jimmy G's going to be up under the helm. So I know if you got someone like Debo Samuel, if you got someone like George Kittle, you're feeling a lot better about those two guys, especially moving forward. And so, all right, let's see. Ben says the Under Packers look soft. Lewis says Justin Fields. God Production says still stuck. Still stuck in spelling. And so, hey, some things, that's universal for us. Believe me. You don't know how many times we type stuff and then it gets changed. Braden says no. Mike says go Bears. Mike says how many thumbs? And so that's a good question, Mike. Let me look at that real quick. But real quick, old man says, dang, does A-Rod still own the Bears? That's the question. I don't know if they're up for sale or not. Meanwhile, kickoff on the way. No return here by the Packers, so they'll take off from their own 25-yard line. And so let's see. Mike says, if you see Sports Blitz, tell him Baker terrible. And so I'll be sure to pass the message. I'll be sure to pass the message. They may be, but his fantasy team, I think, is 2-0 in our league, if I'm not mistaken. I think his fantasy team is 2-0, or about to be 2-0. Let's see. Jay says, dang Bears, I see y'all. Braden says that defense was terrible. Mike says Pats look good, old. All right, here we go. So they got both of their backs here. Two receivers and a tight end. They're going to snap the ball, give it to A.J. Dillon. And A.J. Dillon off the left side there going to force his way forward for 6 yards, taking it all the way to the 31-yard line. And now we got 2nd and 4 coming up here from Green Bay's 31-yard line. Second and 4 here again. First quarter with 4 minutes and 13 seconds to go. And the Bears up 7-3 here. This is the second possession of the game offensively here for the Green Bay Packers. Rodgers in the shotgun here. Takes a snap. Going to give it again to A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon this time up the middle between the center and guard. And he's going to pick up just enough, 5 yards for that first down. Needed 4, got 5. And so now fresh 2 touchdowns to work with for the Green Bay Packers. So, guys, I know it's early. I know it's early in the season, but I want you guys to tell me what team are you most concerned about at this point of the season, considering your expectations for them. And obviously, it's very early, so everything's going to be an overreaction. But just tell me a team that you're highly concerned about where they are from what you've seen so far this season. Let me know that in the comment section. All right, but here we go again for the Packers here. 2 backs in the backfield. Takes it, going to fake it to A.J. Dillon. Now he's going to throw it in the direction of A.J. Dillon, but off the mark there, incomplete. And Rodgers is looking around like, I didn't throw that pass. Someone made me do it. But that's an incompletion. Incompletion. All right, let's see where I'm at right now in the comment section. Let's see. Jay says, dang Bears, I see y'all. Braden says defense was terrible. All right, so Mike says 2008 Flacco showed up. Oh, it says they looked all right, Mike, but you definitely can tell Mac Jones doesn't feel comfortable behind this offensive line. Old says, but Patriots defense is stepping up big time. I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with that. All right, but here we go, guys. Shotgun formation here. Rodgers with the ball here. 2nd and 10. On the move. Running around. Still running. He's going to scramble and goes out of bounds. So Aaron Rodgers there with the scramble, but there is a penalty. There is a penalty, and let's see what they call. Let's see. O says, I want to hear from all 49er fans who wanted to trade Mr. Glass, a.k.a. Jimmy Feast. And they still want to trade, if they still want to trade him. All right, so they're going to call holding there. I'm sorry, illegal contact there on number 9 there for the Bears. So illegal contact is the call. So that's going to gift them with a first down. And so let's see. Black Benson says Sports Blitz is in our league. And so, yeah, he's the one with the, you're going to love this one. He's the Matt Carolina. And so, yeah, that's right. I said it right. Matt Carolina. So that's his team. Let's see. Goff says, at least I have Justin Jefferson in my fantasy team. And so you must have picked very early in your league. Meanwhile, Rodgers gives it to the receiver there, and so the receiver trying to make something happen there, and he's going to stretch out late. Again, that's Watson there, and let's see what they mark him out of bounds at. So he picked up 9 yards on that play. Okay, Christian Watson, the receiver, rookie receiver. And again, last week dropped a wide open touchdown. I mean, wide open touchdown last week. So certainly looking to rebound this week and take that next step. And again, that will go down as a completion as opposed to a carry. Here we go. Rodgers up under center this time. Takes a snap. Gives it to Aaron Jones. And Aaron Jones off the right side there picks up the first down with ease. 5 yards on the carry. Taking it to the Bears' 38-yard line. Again, less than 2 minutes to go here in the first quarter. And the Bears are up 7-3. But this is the second possession of the game offensively for the Green Bay Packers. Again, the Bears right now 1-0. And the Packers 0-1 currently in the division. And so let's see. All right, so Ben says Trey Lance's injury actually helped the 49ers because they weren't going to admit that they were wrong to start him. Blackman says, I'm very concerned about the fighting gastric bypasses. Ben says, Colts are the most disappointing, I think. You know what, Ben? You took the words out of my mouth. That's the team that I was going to say as well. Meanwhile, Rodgers, play fake, throws it. He gets it to the receiver, and the receiver is going to take it all the way to the 14-yard line, and that's good old Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins, he's good for at least, if you play him at least 2 times throughout the year, he'll fool you into thinking, oh, I should start him in fantasy football just to go back to being average the next week. But when he has those good games, I'm telling you, hey, they come out of nowhere, but when they show up, you're happy to have them. But good old Sammy Watkins, the former Clemson product, he's been just about everywhere. But yeah, I agree with that, Ben. I mean, the Colts, because you look at what they did. The Houston Texans tied with them, got embarrassed by the Jaguars, and I mean embarrassed. So I agree. Meanwhile, A.J. Dillon there loses a yard in the carry. I'm sure Mr. JB agrees as well. Let's see, Mike says, well, JB Baker throw ball like last night, 80s. And then Mike says, your O-line garbage. He says, Mike says, did Chance get the play? Did Rocket receiver play? Let's see, O says, JB, how Mr. JB doing? Mr. JB is shocked. Mr. JB is shocked. I mean, Mr. JB came back from church, and then he saw that the Colts were getting hammered, like somebody picked them up and threw them through a table. And so he was just shocked. That's all he was, just shocked. Well, here we go, guys. Rodgers up under center here from the 15-yard line of the Bears. Tight end goes in motion here. One back in the backfield, but that's going to be the end of the first quarter. So at the end of the first quarter, it is the Bears who are up 7-3 here at the end of the first quarter, but Green Bay right now at the Bears' 15-yard line. So let's see if this Bears defense can bear down or will the Packers offense continue to get a touchdown. One thing we do know is that this game is shaping up to be a great game. All right, let's see. Goff says that receiver trying to make up for the drop pass. And so Braden says Alan Lazard is injured. Jay says, remember the days of Eddie Lacy and James Stark in Green Bay? And so how could you forget those days, Jay? How could you forget those days? Braden says, let's go. Golf Production says, Braden, what was your reaction to the drop pass in week 1? And then Mike says, the only quarterback worse than Baker is Darnold. And then Braden says, Sammy. And then Mike says, JB, did you get the chance to talk to Mr. JB? What's going on with the Colts? What happened? Mr. JB wants to ship Matt Ryan back to Indianapolis. To the Atlanta Falcons right now. He wants to ship him back right now. He does not get it. He looks over there and he sees the Washington Commanders, moving the ball with Carson Wentz, and he sees Matt Ryan out there looking like a man on his last leg. And so he's not happy at all with Matt Ryan at all. Like at all. At all. But, I mean, in Indianapolis defense, though, they didn't have Michael Pittman Jr. Alec Pierce was out as well, but they did not even look at my man Paris Campbell at all, which has to have you concerned if you have him in fantasy football for some reason. So, but still, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about Indianapolis right now. I really don't. Like, they were set up. Many people were talking about, oh, this is going to be the team to do like what the Rams did last year. They had that potential, but man, I don't see it. The way they're looking, they might finish third in the division. All right, let's see. Mike says, I'm sorry, Golf says stuffed. And then Braden says, not surprised the Colts lost. Braden says, I picked them to lose. Golf says, smart pick. Mike says, really? Ice garbage now? The ice is melting, Mike. The ice is melting. Mike says Washington got crushed by the Lions, and so that is true. I mean, 36-27 and stuff like that, But that's more so on the defense right there, as opposed to Carson Wentz and stuff like that. But from Mr. JB's perspective, they were moving the ball a lot better last year. All right, but getting ready to come back here from the commercial again. We will be starting the second quarter here, and so far here, Aaron Rodgers 5 of 9 passing for 70 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions yet, been sacked once. And then on the other side, Justin Fields had a 30-yard completion so far today. But here we go, 2nd and 11 for the Bears. I'm sorry, for the Packers here from the Bears 15-yard line. Goff says he picked the Raiders to win. I made that same mistake. All right, but here we go. So Lazard goes in motion here. 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back. And so they're going to toss to the back here, Jones. And so Jones making a move. And Jones gets into the end zone for a touchdown. He does it for the Packers. He does it for one of my other fantasy football teams. And that is going to be a score. 9 plays, 75 yards, 4 minutes and 43 seconds total time possession off the clock. And so now he does the Lambeau leap to cap it all off here. And so the Packers, they have scored here. And so we'll see the extra point, and then we'll get to see how the Bears offense responds to that. And so, Lewis, I know you chose the under here, but something looks like this is going to be a high-scoring game for some reason. It just feels like it. But wow. And so let's see. Mike says, JB, review how your predictions went down at half, please. And so, okay, bet. Yeah, not a bad idea at all. Hopefully, for JB's sake, it wasn't too bad. Braden says, let's go. Mike says, only 5 thumbs. And so Braden says, Aaron Rodgers. Braden says, go, Pack, go. And Goff says, dang it. And then Mike says, Raiders drafted an O-line player letter. He stinks. And so, well, he's with the Bears now. Braden says, it was a touchdown pass to... And so, again, that was a pass there to Aaron Jones. And so Aaron to Aaron. And so Braden says, helps me with your fantasy league. And so, hey, that's what's up. JB's is fully dependent right now on the Buffalo Bills. I did have the Jaguars defense, but I had them on the bench. So 2 weeks in a row, JB had a great defense on the bench, which helps nobody. So I need the Bears. I'm looking at Josh Allen, and I'm looking at the Bears defense. Now, Gabe Davis, I hate the fact that they did not go ahead and just rule this man as out, but I could not take that risk. Because honestly, there's nobody else I could have picked up if he is marked out, which he's most likely not going to play, it seems like. So that did hurt. Not having Gabe Davis, but I can still win. But here we go for the Bears. He's at the 16th, turning around in circles, and he falls down at about the 19-yard line, 20-yard line, and that is where the Bears offensively will take over. So last time we saw the Bears, they capped it off with a touchdown. Now, can they do it again? They did such a great job running the ball last time behind David Montgomery here. So looking to see what they're going to do. Starting off from their own 20-yard line, can they go 80 yards here and cap off with another touchdown? We are here in the second quarter. Let's see what they do. Braden says, come on, defense. All right, but here we go, guys. 1 back in the backfield here. 3 receivers, 1 tight end. Fields up under center. Takes it. Play fake. Fields. Feeling the pressure. Running around, and they got him for the sack. The ball is out. The ball is out, but it's recovered there by the Bears there. So, scary moment. If you're the Bears, but if you're the Packers, you absolutely love it. If you're the Packers, you loved it on that play. All right, meanwhile, from 12 votes here, it is the Bears at 67%, and we'll call the poll at that one. Mike says, are you referring to the great Gabriel Davis? And so right now, he's not great. He might have cost me this week in fantasy because he decides not to suit up. But yes, Gabriel Davis. Meanwhile, the ball passed there to Darryl Mooney, and he's going to lose 4 yards on the play. And so the Bears going in the wrong direction. And so now the Bears are facing 3rd down and 19 from their own 11-yard line. And so Braden says, Roswell Douglas. And then Braden says, you guys are going to regret that poll. And so Braden, I thought about you and my team won today. I thought about how you said that the Steelers were going to beat us decisively. I was like, Braden, I thought we were supporting each other here, Braden. I expected it from Carmichael. Meanwhile, Justin Fields throws the pass there to Montgomery. Montgomery gonna take it to about the 18-yard line, however, still short. So the Bears will punt the ball. They will punt the ball. And so now the punt unit's gonna come out here. First punt of the day. And let's see. Braden says, let's go. Mike says, he still is human, JB, susceptible to injury. And so Golf said, I picked the Bears to win in every app I have. I need an upset. Meanwhile, Bears punt the ball. And so fair catch at the 40, and that is where the Packers will take over from their own. Let's see, they mark it at the 39-yard line. And so let's see, Mike says Rams robbed Falcons JB, and so that they did. They took their lunch money, and then some. Took their lunch money and then some. It is such a major flex to have Cooper Cup in fantasy football. Like you guys don't understand. Like the trust I have in Cooper Cup in my other league, knowing that he's there in my back pocket. Everybody else did tremendous. Did tremendous. We're on pace to score 180 something points this week in the other league, 40 more than the next highest person, and it was already done before Cooper Cup even stepped on the field. And so I just felt great. I just felt great. And so Braden says, "Sorry, JB, when I pick against your guys' teams, they win." And so I mean, hey, football is week to week. We get that. I get that on paper and stuff like that. I certainly get it. But I'm just thankful my team won. That's it. I'm just thankful my team won. That is it. So waiting to see when Carmichael's going to show up, though. Let's see. Mike says, "Fumble City today, old." But again, we are here in the second quarter with 12 minutes and 49 seconds to go. And is it just me, or does it seem like this game is going by pretty fast already? Because we're already here in the second quarter, guys. And so let's see. Golf says, "Bro, I'm screwed. I just now looked at my picks for the week and it's not good." And so I haven't necessarily glanced at all of my picks myself. I feel like it's better than last week. I was going to do a review of all my picks from last week until I looked at them and saw just how bad I did last week. So I was like, you know what? Let's not do that. But yeah. Let's see. Brandon says, "Honestly, not surprised your Pats won though." Mike says, "Did Pats play O-line player Chance Old or JB?" And so I'm sorry, you said that the Pats play O-line player Chance. And so let's see. Jay says, "I feel for Trey Lance. Was excited to see how it was going to go to look this season." So Jay, what got me was that in our league, I was going to actually look and see if Jimmy Garoppolo was still available, because the way that Trey Lance was looking the first couple of games, I figure at some point they actually would go back to Jimmy G. But I did not want it to be this way. But yeah, that's tough for him. That's really tough for him. I just hope that mentally, he's got the capacity to go out there. And hey, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, his contract, be done this year. So ride with the 49ers one last time. And then after that, you turn over to Trey Lance for good. We'll see how it works out, though, next year. Rodgers throws a quick pass there. Torres Watkins incomplete. And you can tell Aaron Rodgers there, he's like, okay, I'm starting to have some faith here in Sammy Watkins. Let me start to look for him now. Let's see. O says, O-line was better than they did in week one. And so that much true. That much true. And hey, Damian Harris did a tremendous job in that game as well. And so, but yeah, Rodgers right now facing second and 10 right now. Second and 10 from Green Bay's 39-yard line. Again, the Packers up right now 10-7 here in the second quarter. And another timeout here. That's the second timeout here by the Packers here. So timeout. And I feel like you see this a lot, especially with the established veteran quarterbacks. When you give them young receivers and stuff like that, you can sort of tell by their facial expressions. They're a bit more on the annoyed side when it comes to younger guys developing. They want guys that are ready to come in there and understand concepts immediately and hit the ground running. But you got to be a little bit more patient with these young receivers. All right, so let's see. All right, let's see. Mike says, "Let me ask this way: Who was your first round pick?" Okay, okay. You're talking about that Cole Strange, and so Cole Strange, the guy who probably no one had on their board, but the Pats used first, and so yeah, okay, okay, yeah. Cole Strange was the guy on the offensive line, and so O says, "JB, what's your thoughts on my ideal? New England bring in JPP to blitz the quarterback on the other side of Judon, and so you know what? I would welcome it. I would welcome it." But I was very proud of our defense today. I really was. Meanwhile, Rodgers play fake on the move, throws it, incomplete, 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 incomplete. And that's also why I felt like for the Steelers, why they should have went the direction of Kenny Pickett. Because I feel like Kenny Pickett would have done a little bit better and stuff like that than what Mitch did at times and stuff like that. The Steelers are a good team. They've got a good roster, which is why, last week they beat the Cincinnati Bengals, but the Bengals had a bunch of opportunities to win the game. Burrow just gave it away, and the special teams unit failed them as well. That being said, though, if that wasn't the case, they'd be 0-2 right now. So that's what I'm thinking. And so, all right, but here we go. All right, so 3rd and 10 here from their own 39-yard line. Shotgun. Rodgers in the pocket. He doesn't feel the rush. They got him. They got him. They got him. They got him. And so sacked again. He lost 11 yards, and that was Mr. Quinn with the sack. And so now Rodgers makes the long walk to the sidewalk. I'm sorry, I said to the sidewalk, to the sideline here. And let's see, that time. He said, "Get off of me. I've got a quarterback to get to." And lucky for Rodgers, that guy did not reach his hand out and rip the ball out. Because Rodgers holding the ball out there like that, it could have very well have been a fumble. But we got 4th and long here. Packers will punt the ball. Their first punt of the day. Let's see if we get a return here. Last year, special teams was huge for Chicago in this matchup. There will be no return. That goes straight into the end zone there. No attempt to try to get it inside the 5 there. So now we will get to see the Bears offense again come out here from their own 25-yard line. All right, let's see. Where am I? All right, so Braden says a yearly tradition the Packers calling timeout to avoid later game penalty. Ode says Cole Strange was great, Mike. He was going one-on-one with Haywood, and Strange was winning it 3/4 of the time. Mike says unfortunately can't use O-line for Panthers as excuse. Baker stink. Mike says how has Strange been? And so Strange has been good. It's kind of strange to say, but he's been good. Braden says no. Goff says yes. Mike says yeah, maybe Pickett time soon. Oh, it says Strange has been our third best O lineman, but that's not bad for a rookie O lineman who played mostly at center. Mike says JB said okay, okay, got it. I don't think you do. Braden says sidewalk, LOL. And Mike says the guy no one ever heard of was available in the 5th round. And okay, 5th round now. Come on now, Mike. Come on now. Now he was not going to be available in the 5th round. Probably more so like 3rd round ish. 3rd or 4th round is probably most likely sound like it would have been 2nd round though. And let's see. O says A-Rod doesn't look happy, but what do you expect when you get paid like you did and having players who you don't trust? That's true. Shannon Sharp's been calling A-Rod out for a while now. And Mike says maybe Belichick knew O-line Strange was good. And so, I mean, if you ask Bill, he always knows. But we won't know until it actually comes to tuition. But the kid's been playing good. I will say that. And that's what the draft is about. If you believe in a kid, you take the kid where you know you can get him. Because the draft is like a lottery at this point. You just select a player and hope for the best. But yeah, so right now we are currently at the commercial here. And again, the Packers are up 10-7 over the Bears, but the Bears will get the football here in the 2nd quarter with 11 minutes and 50 seconds to go before the half. All right, so I asked the question earlier about, a team that right now has you concerned. But what is a team that has been a pleasant surprise so far for you guys this season? Let me know which team so far. And again, I know it's early, but so far, based upon the first 2 weeks of win, a team that's been a pleasant surprise for you guys so far. For me, I hate saying it myself, but looking at the Giants the first 2 weeks, they've been a pleasant surprise. Looking at Saquon Barkley, looking at this defense making plays and stuff like that, getting after quarterbacks. And so they've been a team that has caught my attention so far here early in the season. Meanwhile, there is a penalty here. They were going to stop the ball, but there is a penalty. And so Braden says stranger things happen in New England, and so that's going to be our next Netflix series. I'm telling you. And so let's see. Mike says I saw what one of Belichick kids looked like. Awesome hair. Old says, all I know, Broncos made a big mistake trading for Russ and then giving him an extension before he took a snap. That extension was a mistake. I mean, you guys say that it's because of fantasy football that JB was out on Russell Wilson, but I saw some things I didn't like last year. I really did. And so for the Broncos' sake, I hope I'm wrong. But right now, it's not looking like it. Meanwhile, they're going to give the ball to David Montgomery, and so Montgomery's going to pick up a yard. I'm sorry, that was actually Herbert there on the carry. So, so Herbert there with the carry for 1 yard on the play. So now let's see what happens here. 2nd and 14 coming up. All right, so let's see. Mike says Panthers concerned. Braden says the Giants. Mike says Vikings. And then Mike says concerned 80 streaking. This time Herbert takes it all the way to the 20. So it's going to be, let's see, they're still moving the pile. Okay. So let's pick up a 4 yards on the play. So now we got 3rd and 10 coming up here. 3rd and 10 coming up here for the Bears. And so this is what I need to see from Chicago. When it's 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. Can they convert through the air for first downs consistently this season? That's what I need to be able to see. So 3rd and 10 coming up. Let's see. O says the Giants are crazy. They definitely found their head coach of the future. Mike says Brian DeBoer got that quarterback running. Jay said, did anyone else see those GTA 6 leaks? Meanwhile, Fields in the pocket. He's going to run. Wait, he threw it. He threw it. Was he past the line of scrimmage? For right now, it doesn't matter. But, all right. So, if this stands, it would be in Green Bay side of the field there. But he was past the line of scrimmage. He was past that line of scrimmage. That's the same mistake I probably would have made in college football and NCAA, honestly. Referees right now are discussing. They are discussing. Yeah. Yeah. The man was at least about a good 4 yards beyond that line. So, yeah. Oh, Justin Fields. Justin Fields. That was a big time play. Just got to be aware of where you are on the field. They're not going to blame the kid for that. Just, trying to make a play. But big penalty right there that's going to negate the big play. And so now we are going to have to go ahead and punt the ball. Let's see. Old man says concern is the coach. They look better when they had Wentz out there instead of ice cold Ryan. Meanwhile, there. All right, so the Packers here got it. And he's at the 40 right now. And he's going to dive for it at the 45. So the Packers will get excellent field position to start off this drive here. Amari Rogers there with the return. All right, let's see. Ben says the Bills better worry about the Dolphins. And then Mike says, did y'all all's Rocket receiver that no one would have drafted till 7th, but Belichick traded up for him good? Well, Mike, we haven't got to see, if you're referring to Tyquan Thornton, we haven't got to see him yet. Haven't got to see him yet. He's on IR right now. Let's see. Braden says, way past the line. Goff says, bro was almost 5 yards past scrimmage. Ben said he thought he could do to Mahomes. And so Braden says, yes, Amari Rogers. Goff says, bro, Bengals can't get over Super Bowl hangover. And so you know what? You bring up a great question right there, Goff. I'm going to use that as inspiration for this next one here. 1 second, guys. All right, let's see. All right, so we're going to go ahead and feed off that question provided to us by Golf Productions. And so, are the Bengals suffering from Super Bowl hangover? So I know that it wasn't a question form, but you know what? I want to know what you guys think. Let's see. Mike says could be. None know what that receiver is, JB. And so 80 says good food. Mike says Ben Bills will beat the Dolphins so bad. But My opinion on the Bengals, I mean, coming into the year, you guys remember I said I had the Ravens winning that division and stuff like that. And so, honestly, looking at how things are playing out, I would now move the Steelers to second and say Ravens and Steelers, competing for it. But right now, I still feel like the Bengals are still good. It's just I feel like last year the Bengals, they sort of overachieved. There comes a time in the season where you catch fire. For some teams, it can be 2, 3 weeks. For others, it can be 5 to 8 weeks where you play your absolute best football, peak football. It's like an out of body experience. And I feel like for the Bengals, that hit just in time for around the playoffs and stuff like that. Honestly, I feel like it really did because I remember there were times last year where people in our league benched Joe Burrow in favor of Tyrod Taylor last year because he had some games that were kind of low last year in the regular season, which is why I stayed away from him in fantasy football on purpose. I did not. I stayed away from him and Tom Brady this year in fantasy football when it came to drafting those two guys for different reasons. But for Joe Burrow, I don't think that this is a regression. It's just hard to replicate what you did last year. Last year was just crazy good, but I don't think it was sustainable, especially given Cincinnati's offensive line problems from last year and all that stuff. They just overperformed, honestly. Meanwhile, Rodgers, he does find a familiar man here in Randall Cobbs, and he throws to him. And so Randall Cobbs, the guy that I think that Aaron Rodgers will favor whenever he gets within the 20 and stuff like that. I saw it last year, I think, for a game where Randall Cobbs came in there and had like 2 or 3 receiving touchdowns. He may not get a lot of receptions, through the course of the field, but you put him in there the red zone, him and Rodgers on the same page. Rodgers likes that kind of things from his receivers. Let's see. Mike says Bengals think Bills were tripping. All right, here we go, guys. 2nd and 1. Snaps the ball, give it to Aaron Jones off the left side, still trying to find a crease, and he does. And so Jones picks up 5 yards and a first down here for the Packers. They're now at the Bears' 41-yard line. 1st and 10 here in the second quarter. 9 minutes and 20 seconds to go. All right, let's see. Ben says the Bills has had issues with Tyreek Hill, so who knows? Mike says, 80s, what are you eating? Mike says, JB, I told you Burrow a fraud. 80 says, should Baker be benched? And so I say no. I say no, 80s. I mean, you don't bench Baker Mayfield because, quite frankly, he's better than Sam Darnold. It's just that simple. He's better than Sam Darnold, and Sam Darnold is not going to win your games. Anybody get the ball to Aaron Rodgers off the right side, and he's going to pick up 8 yards on the play. We got 2nd and 8 coming up here. 2nd and 8 from the Chicago 33-yard line. But yeah, I mean, in order to bench Baker Mayfield, you got to have somebody better to put in or somebody that at least can give the illusion that he can do something different. And you don't have that with Sam Darnold. Everybody in Carolina knows that man is a football bum, basically. I mean, no disrespect to the man. He seems like a nice person, but on the football field, a straight-up bum out there on the field. So you cannot put him in the game. I'm sorry. All right, but here we go, guys. 2nd and 2. Rodgers up under center. Going to give it to A.J. Dillon, and A.J. Dillon takes it all the way to the 25-yard line of the Bears. Picked up 9 yards on that carry. 8 minutes to go here before the half. Again, the score right now, Packers up 10-7. And so, let's see. Mike says, allow me, JB. Bengals think the good teams played the game of century and Bills and Chiefs beat up each other. Bengals snuck through the door. Goff says, honestly, I forgot about Baker. Ben says, I don't know. I saw a lot of good throws, a lot of good Baker throws that were just dropped for no reason. Meanwhile, A.J. Dillon again looking shifty out there. You see the size, but you forget just how shifty he can be. He's got good hands and all like that. So A.J. Dillon was a guy that in the draft, I slick wanted my Patriots to find a way to draft him in the middle of the draft when he was coming out of Boston College a couple years ago. But Green Bay stole him. But that play's coming back. That's a holding call right there. That play is coming back. So now we got 1st and 20 here from the Bears' 34-yard line thanks to the penalty. Let's see. 80 says, wow, JB gave Baker a compliment. Mike says the XFL backup stink and Darnold worse. Baker horrible but best quarterback. Mike says the bad Carroll out for the year. And so too bad Carroll out for the year. Ben says the Panthers have a lot of issues worse than quarterback. Mike says 1 of 4. All right, here we go, guys. And so Rodgers in the pocket. They got him again. They got him again. And so, mama, there goes that man again. And that's Gibson here for another sack. But there is a penalty. There is a penalty. But man, I mean, the body language between Aaron Rodgers and then earlier Tom Brady today, I mean, some of these quarterbacks are just not enjoying the game of football, honestly. I mean, look at him. He just looks like he don't want to be there right now. He's like, I could be 1,000 different places right now. I mean, wow. Mike says other easy drops by receivers. Mike says tight end and DJ Moore come to mind. Have they been trying to utilize Terrence Marshall down there in Carolina? Because I feel like he's kind of like the forgotten guy. Came out with a lot of hype last year. Meanwhile, quick pass there to the receiver. Off the left side, he's still running. And that's going to be what looks to be a nice pickup there. Let's see, what receiver was that on the play? But a huge pickup there, about 20 yards. And so now we got 3rd and 8 coming up here, guys. 3rd and 8. Again, Romeo Dubs here making the play. It's good news for Pop Brown's fantasy team. I don't know if he started him this week. But still, what a game so far here. And of course, we got about a good 6 minutes to go here before the half. But what a game so far here. Packers up 10-7. Trips towards the bottom of the formation here. Shotgun. Randall Cobb is in there. I'll keep an eye on him. Rodgers in the pocket. Rodgers throws it. Caught by Randall Cobbs. I said it before. Randall Cobbs is a guy that Aaron Rodgers trusts. He is a guy of the same mindset as Aaron Rodgers. And for Mr. Rodgers, that goes a long way for him. So a pickup of 9 yards there at a first down, taking it all the way to the Chicago 13-yard line. So far on this drive, 7 plays, 41 yards, and about almost 5 minutes in terms of time possession off the clock. Let's see, Mike says, Shi Smith stinks, JB. And let's see, Ben says, wow, you got a first down after 2nd and 28, LOL. Exactly. But here we go, guys. Quarterback up under center here, trips toward the bottom of the formation. Here, Cobbs goes in motion. They're going to toss it to A.J. Dillon off the right side here. He's going to cut it up the middle. And so still on his feet before he's brought down by a swarm of Bears on the play, but picked up 5 yards for 2nd and 5 coming up here from Chicago 8-yard line. And so, Chad, what's good with you, Chad? What's good with you? How are you doing? And Chad says the Dolphins came back from a 28 points in the 4th quarter. That's right. I'll say it again. 28 points in the 4th quarter to beat the Ravens 42-38. Crazy game. And so, yes, Chad, that is my game of the week right there. Absolutely stunning to see what Miami did in that comeback. And I felt bad for the Ravens, though, especially Lamar Jackson. You went out there. You balled out. My man balled out. A 79-yard run. He was throwing the ball everywhere. But Miami said, all right, you want to catch fire? We can catch fire even better. Meanwhile, Aaron Jones is going to take the short pass all the way in there for a score. He reaches the end zone again. Great news for the Packers. Great news for my fantasy football team in the other league for sure. I might just score 200 tonight, guys. I might just score 200. But Aaron Jones getting very familiar with that end zone again. That time they put him in motion, gave him the short pass there, and he did the rest. And look at A.J. Dillon throwing a block there. I mean, that's not going to go unnoticed. You got to like it when both running backs support each other and complement each other. Lewis says, geez. Braden says, let's go, touchdown. Golf Production says, boo, touchdown. Mike says, poll, should Matt Rule be fired, please, JB? And so, ooh. All right, bet. Let's get to that. And so, but 88% of y'all said that, yes, the Bengals are suffering from a Super Bowl hangover. Okay, so let's get that one. All right, and so I'll put it up there because Mike requested, but I think we all know this answer here. But let's see. All right, so question should be up now. All right, so yes, should Matt Rule be fired? And how has Christian McCaffrey looked so far this season? If anybody's been watching closely, how's Christian McCaffrey looked so far this season? Meanwhile, we are at the commercial though, but the Packers are now up by 10. They're up 17-7 here in the 2nd quarter with 4 minutes 36 seconds to go. And so I'm looking at Chicago now. I'm like, hey, you let Green Bay go out there. They scored 14, points here in the 2nd quarter. It's like you guys scored the first touchdown, but they've scored 17 unanswered. It's time to see how will the Bears respond now. I'm sorry, the Packers scored the first field goal, then the Bears scored, so they scored the last 14 points unanswered. So how will they respond? Let's see. Mike says you hit yes, but how early? And so I would say probably it doesn't have to be too soon. It doesn't have to be too soon. Probably just around maybe week 13 or 14, just enough to get a head start when it comes time for the next, coaching vacancies to start getting interviews and bringing guys in and, stuff like that. So it doesn't have to be too early, like some of these college football teams are doing. Braden says Herm Edwards got fired. And so, yes, he did. He did get fired. Good old Herm Edwards and stuff like that down there at Arizona State. They did let him go. And so, coaches are getting fired early in the season. Let's see. 80 says JB, I call a blowout. And so, all right. So, 80 says he called a blowout here. Let's see. Up, wait, what's this? Somebody is standing up for Matt Rule here. Who's the person that says he should not be fired? Let me know. I'm curious as to who's the person that says that Matt Rule should not be fired. I just want to know. All right, kickoff on the way here. Let's see if we get a return here by the Bears, and we will get a return. All right, he's at the 10, at the 15, trying to make somebody miss, and he's going to get brought down at the 15-yard line, and that is where the Bears offense will take over. Let's see. Braden says, I'm about to go 0-2 in one of my leagues. And then Mike says, when Braden in 1997. 80 says, JB, are you going to stream golf? And so that's a hard no, 80s. That is a hard no. That is a hard no. Lewis says, Eli. And so 80 says, Mike said he shouldn't be fired, LOL. All right, but here we go. Out of the shotgun from their own 15-yard line here for the Bears. 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back. Fields throws it. Incomplete. Dropped there by the tight end. And so that's incomplete. I did draft that tight end, but I think I already drafted him in one of my fantasy leagues. I drafted him, and I dropped him just like that. And so O says, heck yes, he should be fired. Just look at what he gave up to get Sam, C Ghost, and Basic Baker. Those moves on itself is the very offense to be fired by. Mike says, first move that needs to happen is to trade Christian McCaffrey. All right, but here we go, guys. Fields up under center here. Receiver goes in motion, takes a snap. Going to give it to Montgomery, but he was met in the backfield for a loss. He lost 5 yards. Mr. Gary gets him in the backfield. So now they got third down coming up here, 3rd and 15. So right now, you're Chicago. You just saw Green Bay start scoring. They're up 17-7 right now. You're on the road here. You want to be able to respond on this drive right now, but you're moving backwards once again on offense. Let's see. Braden says defense. Braden says missing the tennis streams. Mike says you don't focus on run. Meanwhile, Fields throws it, and it's caught by St. Brown. Let's see. O says JB just got the phone with my cousin who's a Jets fan, and he said the Jets should trade Zach because Fluco is better than him. And so it comes down to, do you believe that Zach Wilson still can be the guy, honestly? And there is no right or wrong answer right now because the man's always hurt. But it really comes down to if you still believe in him. Meanwhile, the Bears going to punt the ball here. They're going to punt the ball. And so, Amari Rogers there with the dangerous play. These punt returners are playing around with these footballs like they're basketballs here. Dribbling them on the field. There is a penalty, however. There is a penalty. All right, so I'll pose that question. Should the Jets trade Zach Wilson? And so, all right, so about to hit the commercial here. Let's see. Mike says, but JB loves basic ode. Braden says, let's go. Braden says, let's tackle by Stokes. I'm sorry, great tackle by Stokes. Mike says, Higgins and Chanel inactives. Why? And so I'm not quite clear why. Mike says, Zach stinks. And so, but yeah, you guys let me know. Like, what do you guys think? If you're the GM, are you pulling the trigger? Are you fielding? What can you get in return for him? Let me know. Ben says the Jets should trade Zach Wilson for Kirk Cousins straight up. I don't know why the Vikings would take that one though, but if they could pull that off, yeah. All right, so here we go, guys. We're gonna give it to Aaron Jones. So Aaron Jones, the 2 touchdown man already with the 14-yard play around the left end, and so now we got 1st and 10 for the Green Bay 47-yard line. You know what? I would ask Mr. JB if his Indianapolis Colts would have any interest in Zach Wilson. Right now, he might be so mad at Matt Ryan, he might actually say yes. He might actually say yes. Let's see. Old man says, I vote no just because he's an easy win. An easy to win a year for New England because said, you know what? You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. When you put it like that. All right, but here we go. They're going to give the ball to A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon's just going to plow forward there. Picks up a yard in the play. So we got 2 minutes and 15 seconds left to go here before the half. Again, Green Bay's up 17-7 over the Bears. And so let's see. 80 says, I would pull the trigger. And let's see. Braden says, the Bears can't stop Aaron Jones. Mike says, who used to be New Age Vikings? Mike says, ice will come around. And so Golf says, well, I got to go by. Appreciate you for coming through. And so, hey, we will be live streaming the Vikings tomorrow. So if you do find some time for that Vikings and Eagles game, definitely do come through. But if not, hey, appreciate you for coming through. Always good to hear from you, and you take care. And here we are right now at the commercial. 2-minute warning right now. 2-minute warning. Meanwhile, JB's got to do a quick check on his fantasy team and see how my fantasy team in my own league is faring. In my other league, looking fantastic. But in my league, does my opponent have anybody left to play? No, my opponent is basically done at 94 points, and I've got just 51 points. So I need Josh Allen to go out there and perform on a Tua type level today. That's what I need tomorrow. Let's see. Mike says, look at Bears roster. They ain't supposed to stop any running back. Oh, it says, my cousin said trade that bus for what you can get, and he wants just to sign Kellen Mond. And so, Kellen Mond and stuff like that. I'm actually a little surprised that the Cowboys didn't consider. I feel like if they would have put Dak on IR, I would have at least considered maybe getting Kellen Mond, even though I would not have started him immediately, but just to see what he's got. But good old Kellen Mond, the forgotten guy. Let's see, Mike says, how many subs you got, JB? And so the exact number of subs that I got at this very moment right now, let me check my YouTube studio. So at this exact moment right now, I've got 2,149 subscribers right now currently. 2,149 subscribers right now currently. Let's see, Braden says, what team is Kellen Mond on now? Kellen Mond is currently on the practice squad, I think, of the Minnesota Vikings still right now. Currently, I think when they let him go, he was unclaimed, so they put him on the practice squad. If I'm not mistaken, it was him that was put in the practice squad. So, yeah, I think they got him on the practice squad. Braden says Eli Manning was at the Giants game today, and so that's good for him. Good for him. But, yes, so right now we've got the Packers up 17-7 here right before the half. Soon we will be at halftime. Let's see how all the teams are looking right now in fantasy football around our league. Are there any close matchups this week? And so, well, Braden, it looks like you're expected to pull off that victory there, although it will be close in our fantasy league. And so, yeah, I mean, some teams just went ham. Some teams just went ham. No other way to say it. All right, but here we go, guys. Getting back to the action here. 2nd and 9 here for the Packers out of the shotgun. Rodgers throws it to Jones. Makes one guy miss. There is a penalty. There is a penalty. And so, was a great play by the Packers, but let's see what the penalty is going to be. All right, so that's offsides on the defense. Gonna decline that one, so that's gonna help my fantasy team out even more. So I'll take that in my other league. Let's see. Old man says I lost bad this week, and so let's see. So right now in my other fantasy league, I have the most points in my other fantasy league. I have 182 points currently right now as we speak. So tremendous week. I had Lamar Jackson. I had Cooper Kupp. I had Amar St. Brown. I had DeAndre Swift. I have Aaron Jones currently playing right now. Had Kareem Hunt. Had the Broncos defense. Also had Juju Smith-Schuster, which was the only guy I started who did not really do anything this past week. And so, all right, so we got 2nd and 7 coming up here. Again, they have ran the ball over the middle here. They're up by 10 points right now. They have one timeout remaining here for the Packers. So they're up 17-7. Rodgers in the shotgun. A.J. Dillon is the back. They take the snap. Looking. Moving around. Throws it. And it's completed to Randall Cobb. So Randall Cobb with the 20-yard reception there, taking it all the way to the Bears' 14-yard line. And so let's see. Oh, it says, even if I had Allen, I would still have lost bad. Jay says, Brady and Rodgers play each other next week. And so that's right. That's gonna be a big time matchup there to see those two guys face off against each other. Mike says AJ Green blast from the pass. Meanwhile, Rodgers throws it. It's caught. I believe that to be Tunyon, if I'm not mistaken. That is Tunyon. And so they're going to call a timeout. They're going to call their third and final timeout here for Green Bay. So it's going to be up to them for clock management, but they're close enough to where they should be able to be just fine. But that's their final timeout. No more timeouts. Mike says drive to JB3K. And so there you go. Let's see. Mike says the good teams, Bills and Chiefs. And so 80 sets a Cooper Rush goes on a run, then Dak is healthy and ready to play. What happens? And so, well, it depends on how they're winning. 80s, it depends on how they're winning. If they're just clawing and getting by and you feel like it's not going to be enough for a major team, then maybe you switch back. But hey, why fix something that's not broken? Jay says, I'm really excited for the Giants Cowboys next Monday night. And so Braden says, freaking Lazar, Big Bob, Tunyon. All right, but here we go, guys. 2nd and 1. 35 seconds here before the half. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers up 17-7, but they want to increase the lead even more. Here we go, guys. 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back. Takes the snap there. Going to fake it to Jones. Throws it over the middle. And it's caught by Allen Lazard in the end zone for a Green Bay touchdown. Touchdown, Packers. 7 plays, 67 yards, 2 minutes and 38 seconds to turn time possession off the clock, and they get into the end zone again. And it's all smiles right now for Green Bay. Mike says Allen hasn't played yet. He will get you whatever points you need. And so you got 80s there with all the emojis there. Mike says the value Cowboys put on Zeke. Braden says let's go. Mike says Giants on Barkley, shake my head. Extra point is up. Extra point is good. So the Packers up 24-7 over the Chicago Bears here in the second quarter with 32 seconds to go. If you're Chicago, you got to just stay focused here in the second half. You got to come out fast in the second half. But there you go. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers up 24-7. Jay says, man, the Bears are getting beat bad. Mike says, even counting on Henry and Chris McCaffrey, bad plan. And then Braden says 50-50 on Zach Wilson. And so, okay. You know what? I am seeing that. And so, yeah, if anybody that voted no for the Zach Wilson, other than old man, because I know why you voted no. But if anybody wants to just drop their, like their thought process behind, Zach Wilson, if you still believe in Zach Wilson, I mean, let's not forget, there was a lot of people that did give him a little bit of Mahomes comparison coming out of the draft. So, if you're thinking, what do you think needs to happen for Zach Wilson? Is it just the injuries? What do you think needs to happen for Zach Wilson to reach his peak? And what is his peak, honestly, when you think of Zach Wilson? Braden says, you have anything you want to say, Lewis? And so, ouch. Braden calling out Lewis here. And so, ouch. But yeah, I mean that is pretty good. Let's see. Mike says suggestions trade Zeke to a sucker team. Pollard very good. And so the thing about Pollard, you look at the size of a Tony Pollard, and do you really think a running back of that size like can really, I guess, by himself carry the load? Now, in my opinion, if you can get Zeke a lot cheaper, price like a lot cheaper, then yes, that combination can work. You got Thunder and you got Lightning and stuff like that. But Tony Pollard by himself, I mean, if you have him in fantasy football, you love it. But you kind of in today's NFL want to have multiple running backs. Let's see. 80 says if a quarterback throws a touchdown on a 2 point conversion, does it count as a touchdown pass for the stats? And so does not count as a touchdown pass for the stats. Let's see. Jay says, I just don't think Wilson has had enough playing time to really make a judgment decision. And you know what? That is fair. That is absolutely fair. That's why, when it comes to being a GM, those are the kind of decisions that you have to make. That like I think about the Arizona Cardinals when they gave up on Josh Rosen right there very quickly. I personally was like, I don't know why they did it so quickly, even though I did like Kyler Murray and I thought he was the better quarterback. But it turned out to be the right decision in that case. But sometimes quarterbacks need time to develop. You think of guys who took time in their career before they really started to shine, and so it happens. I feel like Josh McCown was a better quarterback later in his career than early in his career. I feel like Rich Gannon was better later in his career than earlier in his career. And so sometimes you just never know how long it takes for a guy before he really gets it and he adjusts to it and stuff like that. Like, I know he's not a starter, but I saw Jarrett Stidham in the preseason for the Raiders. He looked much better than he did throughout any preseason game I ever saw him with the Patriots and stuff like that. And I can tell the improvement. So these quarterbacks, they grow at different rates. And so you hope the kid gets it quickly, but you just never know. You just never know. And then you end up with a situation like Jordan Love where you really don't know what to do with him and his contract's going to run out. But here we go for Justin Fields. Going to run the screen play here for Herbert, and he's going to pick up, looks to be about 2-3 yards on the play. Will they let it just go ahead and run out and take it to the half? But yeah, that's a very good point there, Jay. Very good point. Mike says get a cheaper Zeke, get better defensive players. I like that plan. Mike says still not impressed by Dimes or Texans quarterback. But we are at the half. That is what we are. When we come back from the half, the Bears will get the football here. But they trail right now 24-7. 24-7. And so just to recap what took place so far in the first half, you had Aaron Rodgers 13-19, 164 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Was sacked 3 times though. And for the Bears, Justin Fields 5 of 6 for 45 yards through the air, no touchdowns, no interceptions, sacked 1 time. For the Bears, on the ground, Justin Fields, he had 3 carries for 6 yards. David Montgomery, 5 carries, 33 yards here. And Khalil Herbert, 2 carries for 5 yards. And so Justin Fields did have a rushing touchdown. Meanwhile, for the Packers there, on the ground, you have A.J. Dillon. He's got you 10 carries for 31 yards. Aaron Jones, 7 carries, 54 yards, and a touchdown. And Aaron Rodgers, he has 1 carry as well for 7 yards also in this one. And so, but yeah, I mean, one thing I will say for Chicago, I'm still waiting on Darrell Mooney to step up and really have an impact in this game. He's got 1 catch for -4 yards. That's not helping nobody. You're supposed to be that number 1 wide receiver. You're supposed to be that dude. You're supposed to be the guy. So that's not helping anybody right now. But on that St. Brown guy, he's got you 2 catches for 39 yards so far in this one. He had that catch in the end zone last week, so I'm looking to see, is this an emerging player here for the Chicago Bears? Meanwhile, for Green Bay, I mean, ball being spread around, but Aaron Jones, to complement what he has on the ground, 3 receptions for 38 yards and a receiving touchdown. Alan Lazard has 2 catches, 13 yards, and a receiving touchdown. You look at Randall Cobb, 3 catches, 37 yards. Romeo Dubs, he's got 1 catch, 20 yards. Christian Watson, 1 catch, 9 yards. Sammy Watkins, 2 catches for 38 yards so far here. So Aaron Rodgers spreading the love out there. And so, but yeah, guys, we're still stuck right now at 50% each here for this. Should we trade Zach Wilson or not? And so, give me 1 second here, guys. JB needs to check something real quick. But yeah, again, right now, currently at halftime right now. All right, let's see. All right, so all right, 1 second, guys. All right, so just making sure I get the full scoreboard up here. All right. Let's see where we are right now. All right, so all right, so Braden says JB&M and halftime show coming up next. Mike says they just need to show you something, JB. Show growth like Mac to continue. And then 80 says, Braden LOL. Ben says, I'm definitely impressed the Texans are even competitive. And so Coach Dante said it last year. And when he said it last year, I was looking at him. And so, absolutely. I mean, you look at a roster like the Houston Texans, and what stands out to you, there's obviously no player that you look to like when they had Deshaun Watson, when they had DeAndre Hopkins and those guys. And it's like, man, they got stars, like no real stars out there, but they have some solid pieces like a Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks is as solid as any receiver in the league out there. Different quarterbacks, different systems, goes out there, and what does he do? He produces. And I love receivers like that. Absolutely love receivers like that can be consistent and stuff like that. They got some hard workers. Damian Pierce, he got a little bit involved in the offense today. And so Davis Mills, what do I like about him? Well, he's not a turnover machine. He's not going to go out there and win you very many games, but he's not going to go out there and cost you very many games either. And he's still learning. He's still learning. He can still get better and stuff like that. So there are some nice pieces, plus what they did in the draft, all that stuff. The defense, very competitive. So you got to like it. Got to like it. Let's see. Mike says Trevor Herbert fumbles opening kickoff. Panthers need a better backup running back. Mike says Terrence Marshall inactive all year, but who stinks is not. Let's see. Mike says suggestion trade Chris McCaffrey to Sucker team for first and get a better D player and draft in the fourth a good running back. And so sounds like a good plan to me there, Mike. If you get that in return, let's see. Mike says JB Rattler, Basic Baker, and Eli Manning halftime show. Ben says, I don't think anyone will give a first round for a running back that gets injured all the time. I agree with that. Mike says, we review JB predictions. Mike says, did 80s get Popeyes? Mike says, are Bojangles? Saw the tape, not impressed, Mills. All right, speaking of which, JB's predictions here. So let us see. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and call it at a tie right now. A tie. So smack dab in the middle there. 4 votes for yes, 4 votes for no for Zach Wilson. So let me see something. All right, so just looking at a way to show this. All right, so right now JB's looking at the picks that he had for this week, and then I'm gonna go ahead and say the final score for each of them. And how I got the screen set up right now, I can't just show all the picks that I had to you guys right now because of how I got it set up right now. But the first one up here, the Chargers on the road at the Chiefs. JB projected the Chiefs to win, and the Chiefs did beat the Chargers, so one for JB there. Next up, the Patriots at the Steelers. JB had the Patriots beating the Steelers, and the Patriots did beat the Steelers, so JB started off 2-0. Now, JB had the Colts beating the Jaguars, and obviously that did not happen. The Jaguars molly whooped the Colts out there, so that puts JB at 2-1 on the week. JB had the Cleveland Browns, but the Jets won that matchup, and so therefore that puts JB at 2-2. JB had the Ravens beating the Dolphins, and the Dolphins beat the Ravens. That puts JB at 2-3. JB is currently sad right now with the outcome of how things are going right now, but currently at 2-3. Let's see. JB had the Broncos beating the Houston Texans. The Broncos did beat the Texans 16-9, so that puts JB at 3-3. He's feeling a little bit better now. Let's see. The Bills and the Titans haven't played. JB picked the Raiders over the Cardinals. Raiders did not do it, so Cardinals won that one, so that puts JB back below 500 there, 3-4. All right, let's see. JB picked the Saints. That didn't work. 3-5. Now JB had picked Carolina over the Giants. That didn't work. 3-6. JB's not happy right now. JB chose the Lions though, so the Lions got that one 4-6. He picked the Rams 5-6. Okay, pick the 49ers. Okay, 6-6. There we go. And so of all the games that's played, that is how JB has done so far. So currently sitting at 500 right now, 6-6. And so, all right, let's see where I'm at right now in terms of the comments. All right, so Mike says, like these polls, keep them coming. Bet. Mike says, not bad, 80s. Mike says, is Quasnos out of business? Mike says, we believe you, 80s. Ben says, I voted yes, but I can't even think of an available quarterback that would succeed on the Jets. And so, honestly, Ben, if I'm in charge of a team like the Jets, what you're really hoping for is you just need a veteran quarterback who's been there, did that, done that. Kind of like I think about how Detroit is doing with Jared Goff, honestly. Even though I said Bender did that, done that, but even with them with Jared Goff, he goes in there, former first round pick. He's still playing to be in the league, but when he looks good, he does have some moments where he looks good. So they're building the rest of the team around the Lions. They're going out there, working on the defense, getting some weapons and stuff like that. The interior of the offensive line for Detroit looks amazing and stuff like that, like top five and stuff like that. And so they are building this team from every other position, and Jared Goff's just holding it down. But Jared Goff isn't just playing game manager out there. He's out there trying to legitimately win games. And so he's having some moments where he does look good. Like, there are moments that he does look good. All right, so let's see. Mike says, go JB on Pats too. Appreciate that. Jay says, there's still a Quiznos in Kansas. Mike says, I would have had Colts too, JB. And so I thought about picking the Jaguars there, but I was like, you know what? Carson Wentz isn't there anymore. I was like, they got to win this one, right? Wrong. Wrong. All right, let's see. Mike says Bills will crush the Titans. I did pick the Bills in that one. Mike says awesome pick on the Lions, JB. Appreciate that. Mike says Griswold's good, but I don't have cheddar to afford their cheddar. Mike says Flacco good for the Jets right now, and so yeah, he's good for them right now because I say that to say this because a guy like Flacco allows you to see what you have in a receiver like a Garrett Wilson, like an Elijah Moore. They're going to get their targets. They're going to feel that they're going to build their confidence, and the communication he's going to have with them will help them develop in their career and give them a chance. Whereas you have a young quarterback like Zach Wilson, if he goes out there and struggle, you don't know is it the weapons that we have? Is it the quarterback? What's going on? We don't know which one because neither one has shown what they can do. But Joe Flacco, he will show that there are games where he's going to go out there and give his guys an opportunity. Last year I had Corey Davis on my fantasy team, and so he was like flipping a coin. One week he'll get you 21. The next week he's going to go out there and get you 5 points. But whenever Joe Flacco was in there, things looked better. And plus they do have Mike White as well if they want someone that's going to provide a spark. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Let's see. Mike says, who Jags coach? Doug Peterson. Let's see, Mike says, where are Foles? And so, that's a good question. Where is Foles? Did he get cut? Where is he? Let's see, 80 says, Foles with the Colts. And so he's still with the Colts. Wasn't sure if they cut him or not. Let's see, Mike says, I agree with all your picks, I think, JB, so far. And so 80 says, JB likes Flacco. Mike says, McAdoo is offensive coordinator. Could coach Panthers rest of the year. And so that's certainly a prime candidate for sure. A prime candidate for sure. Let's see, Mike says, good Eli JB halftime show. And so let's see, because, all right, let's see. But yeah, of course, we still got the 2 games coming on tomorrow for Monday Night Football. So plenty of football for tomorrow as well. Got to be excited about that. Let's see, Mike says, I like he hate me, JB. And so good old XFL. And so yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, still right now, currently at the halftime right now with the Packers up 24-7 in this one. And despite being up 24-7, I haven't seen Aaron Rodgers crack a smile not once. If I had that kind of money, I would be smiling all the time. Did I just see for Thursday night football that it's going to be the Steelers versus the Browns Thursday night football? All right, give me 1 second here. Let's see. Jay says, "Do you like scary movies, JB?" And so, you know what? There was a time where JB did probably watch a little bit more scary movies and stuff like that, but JB hardly watches movies, period, these days. Like, I hardly ever. My day is usually so jam packed that all I do is really just watch sports if I do watch TV. So I really don't get to even watch movies like that, period. But I typically, if I'm watching a scary movie, it's probably means that I'm probably not by myself when I'm watching it. Not out of fear, but just that's the only time that I'll actually sit down and watch a movie. And so, but yeah, JB doesn't watch a lot of movies typically. Let's see. Mike says, "80s. Do you like Fleetwood Mac?" Jay says Fleetwood Mac is good. 80s. Jay says, "I like Halloween movies, but that's about it for me." And so, okay, good old Halloween movies. And so, nothing like Halloween movies and stuff like that. Let's see. 80 says, "I like Fleetwood Mac." Heck yeah. Meanwhile, kickoff here to start the second half on the way. Bears are going to bring it out of the end zone. He's at the 10. It's at the 15, at the 20, and going to get brought down at the 22-yard line here for the Bears. And they trail right now 24 to 7. 24 to 7. Let's see. Mike says he a Pats fan, so he likes scary movies. Mike says they good 80s. 80 says to JB, Ghostbusters is a scary movie, LOL. Wow. Wow. And so here we go. Can the Bears offense get things started? Last thing you want is to come three and out and not do anything. They're gonna actually Justin Fields gonna keep the ball himself here off the right side there. Picks up 7 yards on the play. Taking it all the way to the Bears 29-yard line. Let's see. 80 says also like Stevie Nicks solo stuff. Jay says I got to a lot of country concerts. Only rock band I've seen live is Bon Jovi when he was a kid. And so okay, bet. Mike says yeah, JB is afraid of Slimer. Here we go. 2nd and 3. Takes the snap out of the shotgun. Packers 10 and 5. They got him. They got him for the sack. They sent 5 that time, and they just outpowered the offensive line and got him for the sack. So now you're back where you started at. 3rd and 10, the situation you were trying to avoid if you are the Bears. And let's see, Ben says, Week 2 Super Bowl pick. Let's see, Mike says, do you hear JB calling Eli name? Let's see, Mike says, Bills beat Buccaneers, Ben. And so, let's see. I've got to think about this one because I don't like Tampa Bay right now, so I got to think of a replacement for Tampa Bay. Meanwhile, Bears completed. Picked up 7 yards in the play. Yeah, I don't like them right now, so I'm going to lean towards Bills versus, it's going to seem different here, but Bills versus, for lack of a better team that I can think of right now. I know the Rams sort of redeemed themselves here, but I really want to see how the Vikings look against the Eagles tomorrow. I really want to see how they look there before I'm able to make my pick for sure, because I'm considering one of those teams. All right, meanwhile, Packers will start over from their own 14-yard line. Jay says Week 2 Super Bowl is Bills and Lions. I'm thinking Bills and Vikings right now. Bills and Vikings right now. If I had to go off of just the performances we've seen so far. Obviously, Vikings haven't played again so far this week, so we will see. All right, let's see. Mike says Dolphins. Mike says our Cardinals. And so Ben says that's very, very possible. Mike says JB need pole. Mike says Papa John's pizza game. All right, let's see. All right. And again, right now, currently at the commercial. But when we come back, let us see what the Packers offense can do here in the second half. They're already up 24-7. So I guess that means a lot of work here for their running backs so far in this one in the second half will be in order. Jay says, I do think the Lions can be good. I think so as well. Mike says, Bills could go against Mahomes down a cornerback. They could be in trouble. I'm sorry, then they in trouble. Let's see who. All right, I got a question coming up for you guys real quick. All right, so here we go. Okay. And so 80 seems like he's having a hard time over there right now. Mike says, I say Dolphins come back. And so, better so. Then Chick-fil-A. Mike says, you got the got the Lamar Jacksons, basically. The Lamar Jackson halftime special, I guess. And let's see, Ben says, I can't wait for the Bills at Arrowhead in a few weeks. Yes, I'm looking forward to that as well. What time is that going to be? Is that going to be like potentially a primetime matchup? I hope they set that up for a primetime matchup. Mike says Lions will be good though. Eddie says, yes, I do, Mike and Jay. The Lions are going to be heavily dependent on staying healthy. They must stay healthy for it to come to fruition there. They've got to stay healthy. All right, but here we go, guys. Third quarter here. 13 minutes to go in the third quarter with the Packers up 24-7 again. Their first drive here in the second half. Tight end goes in motion. You got two tight ends, two receivers, one back. They give it to the back. Jones, he spins, bounces off of a man, gets brought down at the 19-yard line. Picked up 5 yards on the carry. Second and 5 coming up from their own 19-yard line. Again, up 24-7 over the Bears right now. And so what I was thinking and hoping to be a close game is looking like if Green Bay comes out here and picks up where they left off at, it could be bad. And so 80 says, yes, I do, Mike and Jay. Old man says he got the Vikings. Okay. Braden says Aaron Rodgers clone, LOL. Jay says Chiefs and Bills, surprisingly a mid-afternoon game. And so what are they doing? Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers fighting off Bears and picks up the first down, picks up 7 yards off a left tackle there. So we got first and 10 here from the Green Bay 26-yard line. I hope that Lewis is okay because first of all, his team is down right now, and second of all, there's a lot of points being scored right now. He took the under. There's a lot of points being scored right now. But a first down here from their own 26-yard line. Line up in the shotgun here. First and 10. You got 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back. Again, Aaron Jones is the back. Receiver goes in motion. Going to give it to Jones off the left side there. And Jones still running. The 50. The 40 before he's pushed out of bounds at about the 38-yard line of the Bears. 36 yards on the play. My goodness. This man is out here making money moves. When you move like that, believe me, your agent is also moving to get you more money. That is what's up. I got to check my fantasy team after that play. Got to check my fantasy team because, I mean, we already got the win in the bag, but, I've never scored over 200 points in a match before in fantasy football. So, there we go. All right, here we go, guys, in the shotgun. 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back. Takes a snap, fakes it to the back. Rodgers throws it, and it's caught by Rodgers there. I'm sorry, Watson there, and that's going to be a loss on the play. Lost about a yard on the play. Great tackle there by the Bears. Second down coming up. Mike says, don't drink 80s juice. Let's see. O says, sorry, Braden, but A-Rod doesn't have the firepower at receiver, and Vikings defense has been great. And again, we'll get to see them tomorrow with the Vikings versus the Eagles. Excited for that matchup. All right, but here we go, guys. 3 seconds on the play clock right now. They snap the ball, give it to A.J. Dillon off the right side, still trucking. And he's going to get brought down at about that first down marker, which will be a first down here for the Green Bay Packers. 1st and 10 from the Bears' 28-yard line. And yeah, when I think of the Vikings and I think of the Eagles, I think back in the days where it used to be like Dante Culpepper versus Donovan McNabb back in the day, where you can count on those two teams to almost face each other in the playoffs, or every time they played it was a meaningful game. Randy Moss on one team, maybe Terrell Owens on the other. Let's see. Old man says, sorry, Braden, but A-Rod doesn't have the firepower. Okay, I read that one. Jay says, actually, it's saying that CBS most likely protected the Kansas City Buffalo game from being flexed. And fumble! It is a fumble! It is a fumble. A.J. Dillon gets the carry, and he drops the rock. So just when everything is going all Packers, it is a fumble. It is going to be Bears with the football. How about that? Wow. Braden says no. And 80 says fumble. Wow. This is why you don't hand the ball to someone that's not on JB's fantasy football team. Let that be a lesson right there. But this could potentially give new life here for the Bears, but it's all up to them. What are they going to do with the ball? Let's see. 80 says, was that Rodgers' fault? Well, if you ask Rodgers, he'll tell you no. If you ask him, he would tell you no. But I'd have to see that replay again to be able to see the handoff, especially in like how that handoff went. Ben says 2 weeks from now, Super Bowl 55 rematch on Sunday night. And so, all right, Sunday night, bet. But yeah, for the Raiders to be 0-2, I mean, they start off 0-2. I mean, it's not going to be looking good for Josh McDaniels if this Raiders team doesn't make the playoffs. That's all I know. But already in this one, Aaron Jones has 10 carries for 102 yards and a touchdown. So he's averaging over 10 yards a carry. He's also got 3 catches for 38 yards and a touchdown. Again, this is Aaron Jones we're talking about for the Packers here. And so he's making me happy in fantasy football. He really is. This week has been my week. Aaron Rodgers, 14-20, 163 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, been sacked 3 times. But it was the fumble with A.J. Dillon, the fumble. And now the Bears, who are down 24-7 here in the third quarter, 9 minutes and 18 seconds to work with, have to find a way to try to come up with a touchdown on this drive. Meanwhile, let me see how the poll is going right now. So, all right, so far, most of the votes are leaning towards the Packers right now. Half the votes went towards Green Bay. And then you've got, oh, I just spoke too soon. Let's see the update there. So, all right, so the Lions and Vikings have a tie in terms of that sense, but the Green Bay Packers with 43%. Again, this is going to win the most. So basically, who you got winning the division, basically, in this one. And so it's favoring the Packers. No love here for the Bears. Let's see. Jay says, AFC West doesn't seem to be as strong as people thought and stuff like that. And so, I mean, early on, it's really looking that way. And you know what? That has a lot to do with the fact that the Broncos, with Russell Wilson, I was saying it for long. Everybody's like, JB, why are you saying this? I'm like, look, Russell Wilson, I can't trust him. I can't trust him anymore. I just can't. Meanwhile, David Montgomery off the right side, spins, still on his feet, shaking off guys, and fighting forward, picks up about 9 yards on the carry. He runs hard, like very, very hard out there. He's got 6 carries for 42 yards so far in this one, averaging 7 yards a carry. All right, so looking at that replay, was that on A.J. Dillon? Oh, Aaron Rodgers is not happy about that. Let's see. Ben says the Chargers seem legit, but the Broncos and Raiders aren't living up to expectations. I agree with that. But here we go, guys. 2nd and 1 here for the Bears. Snap the ball. Gives it to David Montgomery following his blocker. And still on his feet here. Takes it to midfield. Matter of fact, the 49-yard line of the Packers here in the third quarter with 8 minutes and 10 seconds left to go in this one. Let's see. Old man says, JB Raider fans already blaming Josh. You guys had him for 5 games, including the preseason. They don't like that he's 2-8 head HB sweep, halfback sweep. That's right, and 3-6 halfback sweeps. And so yeah, they hate that. They do hate it. Meanwhile, oh, completion there over the middle to the tight end. Nice completion there to Mr. Griffin. And so big pickup there for the Bears. And so now here we go. 1st and 10 here. 31-yard line of the Packers. Can they get into the end zone? And so let's see. Meanwhile, can get the ball here to the back and still up, and they're going to bring him down after he picked up about 2 yards off the right side on that carry. Let's see. Mike says JB is good at predictions. Mike says just not Fitz. Jay says Chargers though 0-2 and now have a banged up Herbert. Mike says Fields would be good on the Jets better roster. Mike says Perryman. Jay says Chargers 1-1. And so yeah, 1-1. Mike says had touchdown catch. Mike says Chargers fraud. Lewis says Eli messing with his Wi-Fi. Meanwhile, Fields up under center, gonna give it to the back and gonna pick up about 6 yards in that carry. So we got 3rd and 2 coming up here for the Bears. Again, they trail right now 24-7. But if you get a touchdown right now, that would definitely help the confidence of this team. There's no way on a drive like this that you can come away without points. You've got to come away with some points. All right, so now that Lewis is back here, I expect that vote came from the Bears was from Lewis. All right, here we go, guys. 3rd and 2 here out of the shotgun. 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back. Takes a snap. Justin Fields running. Gets away from 1 guy, but brought down here by the Packers. And so, yeah, no first down here. He lost 3 yards there trying to keep it himself. And so I will point this out here for the Bears. I mean, Daryl Mooney, that's supposed to be your guy, your dude, has just 1 catch for -4 yards, only targeted 1 time. You got to find a way to throw the ball more so to your key playmakers and let them put in some work. You have to do it. Because right now, you know, Justin Fields having to run all around the field, running for his life, trying to avoid the rush. Got to help him out. Meanwhile, 44-yard field goal attempt by the Bears. That is good. That is good. Okay. And so the score right now, 24-10, Packers over the Bears. Let's see. Ben says Chargers 1-1 and have a cakewalk the next 3 games against the Jaguars, Texans, and Browns. Chase Daniel could probably get them to 4-1 and the rest Herbert until Monday night on week 6. Let's see. Jay says seems like Chargers always get hyped and don't live up to expectations. And so Lewis laughs. Let's see. Mike says Brady wife took the kids and Hop Town. Luckily, it was still part of their mansion, but the other side. Oh, Mike. How do you guys feel about Tom Brady getting Wednesdays off for the rest of the season, basically? Tom getting Wednesdays off. Will that mess up with the regular routine? How do you guys feel about that? I think it's a sign that things are really, really bad at home for Tom Brady at this point. And so that was the only compromise you can get probably from the Buccaneers. Mike says, next 16 games, cakewalk for the Bills. Don't know who they play. Mike says it doesn't matter. All right, let's see. Packers still leading the poll here, but 10 votes in so far, and 5 of those have gone to the Packers here, so they've got 50% of that one. 2 have each gone to the Lions and the Vikings, and 1 brave soul, Lewis, voted for the Bears. Let's see. Jay says, I do feel bad for Brady. Any guy going through that would struggle. Prayers for him, honestly. And so I feel you on that one, Jay. I do, because obviously, obviously he really loves her, his family, and all like that. I mean, the man's just doing what he loves. The man's doing what he loves. I mean, to have the kind of career that, anybody would love to have. And then you've reached the kind of status now where you're already a walking GOAT. Because people don't like to give you credit when you're out there balling. They will look for any flaw that you have until you just do it for so long that at some point the noise just stops because it doesn't stop you. And he's reached that point, so he just wants to go out there and do what he loves. But, obviously his family wants him. They miss him. Let's see. 80 says Tom needs a rest. LOL. Mike says Brady need warm milk to get his nap time. Ben says Brady realized he preferred his weird personal trainer to his wife. Old man says Brady deserves it. Dude went out to 11 Super Bowls and won 7, but all this tells me he's done after the season. I do see Gronk coming back after week 7. I don't see Gronk coming back this time. I don't think I see Gronk coming back. All right, but here we go, guys. The 10, 15, 20, all the way to the 24-yard line, and that's where the Packers are going to be coming back from the 24-yard line here in the third quarter with 5 minutes and 6 seconds to go. But, old man, if you do see that he's coming back for sure, you let me know first. My fantasy football team has a spot for him if he decides to come back. Here we go, guys. First and 10. Tight end in motion here. 2 receivers, 2 tight ends. One back in the backfield here for the Packers. Rodgers up under center. Takes the snap here. Play fake. On the move. Looking. Throws it. Caught by the tight end, Tunyon. And Tunyon's going to pick up about 2 yards on the play before going out of bounds. Second and 8 coming up here for the Packers from their own 26-yard line. Again here in the third quarter with 4 minutes and 55 seconds to go. Let's see. Jay says, and isn't he under a deal with Fox after he retires? He still wouldn't be at home all the time then. Jay, I did think about that. I was like, that deal is still up there, so I did think about that, honestly. I really did. I was like, I wonder how is that going to work? Will she be satisfied with that aspect of it? I don't really know how that's going to work. But here he goes, tosses the ball here to Aaron Jones, and so Jones picks up a yard, and so I'll say this now, Packers, okay? So Aaron Jones, I've already won my fantasy league, so if you want to rest Aaron Jones a little bit more, especially in the fourth quarter, I'm okay with it. Just don't injure him. Just don't injure him. But, of course, with A.J. Dillon fumbling the ball, I expect that Aaron Jones will get the bulk of the carries moving forward, at least for today. Mike says Cole Beasley. 80 says when Tom Brady becomes an announcer, he's going to be away from home a lot. Not as much as now, but still a lot, so his wife needs to understand. Old man says you split Brady New England career into two Hall of Fame careers, and if he wins the Super Bowl, he would have 3 Hall of Fame careers in just 1 career. And so meanwhile, throws the ball incomplete in the direction of Aaron Jones, but that's going to be a penalty. And so Braden says, where's Eli Manning? I haven't seen him in the chat for a while. Mike says, why would Texans, our receiver needy team, reach out? Ben says, I still think that video of him kissing his son on the lips is pretty weird. Braden says, pass interference. All right, so the penalty's going to be declined, but it's going to be a holding call now. So it was pass interference. That's declined. Holding call there. So multiple penalties there against the defense there. So that's going to help the offense. Let's see. Mike says, poll how many carries will James Cook get tomorrow? I mean, it would be pretty tough to make a poll like that because I'd have to make so many different options because they're not going to let you just type in the answer and stuff like that. So that would be a difficult poll to make. All right, here we go, guys. Rodgers up under center. Receiver goes in motion. Take the snap. Give it to Jones off the left side. And so Jones going to pick up about a good 8 yards on the carry. So second down coming up. And I know that my opponent is just looking like, man, Can his team stop scoring? Because in one of my fantasy football leagues, I'm telling you, it is just flat out steamrolling the guy, and the guy has the second most points in that league. And I've got 187.92 points to his 135.50 points. So, talk about steamrolling the competition. All right, let's see. Old man says, did the Lions win today? Yes, old man, they won 36-27 over the Commanders. Meanwhile, Rodgers going to give it there to A.J. Dillon, who's back in the game here. He's going to pick up 4 yards up the middle. Way to protect the rock on that carry. So 1st and 10 here from the Green Bay 45-yard line. Let's see. Jay says, and still he is only 45 and has a lot of life to live. I bet he works somewhere after retiring from playing. And then Mike says, the Brady Bunch are weird. Mike says 0, 7 or less, 7 or more. And then Mike says showing 13 thumbs. And so, yeah, let's see how many thumbs up we've got going so far. All right, but here we go, guys. Rodgers up under center. I wonder when will OBJ sign with a team? You know, at some point the man's got to sign and play. Meanwhile, Dillon gets the carry up the middle, picks up a yard. He's stuffed. 2nd and 9 coming up from the Green Bay 46-yard line. Let's see, Mike says, mad to great games at same time, Monday Night Football. And so, yeah, 2 good games there. Although I feel like because of Tennessee right now, what we saw the first week, expectations on Tennessee is dropping because of their pass game. And so we're expecting for Buffalo to go out there and have their way. But, hey, it's football. You never know until you step on that field. You just never know. Uh-oh, Braden said no. Let's see what happens. The shotgun is, oh, my goodness. A bad snap. That is going to irk Aaron Rodgers a lot. Wow. Okay, let's see. And so let's see. Jay says, "Who are your all-time favorite announcers, JB?" And so, all-time favorite announcers. I got to go with the feelings that I get when I'm listening to them all time. And so, gonna go with the classic. You know, your John Maddens of the world, your Al Michaels of the world. So, I would go with probably those two. The combination of those two, John Madden and Al Michaels on a Monday Night Football matchup. There, watching some Brady versus Manning type of thing. So, yeah, I'd go with that. But what about you? Meanwhile, quick pass there to Romeo Dubs, and he's going to pick up about 7 yards on the play. And so that's going to bring up 4th down here, 4th and 15 from Green Bay's 40-yard line. And so just 25 seconds left to go here in the 3rd quarter here. Let's see, Mike says, who the 49ers backup quarterback? And so you mean behind Jimmy Garoppolo? Because Jimmy G is the backup, but he's going to be now the starter. So who's after Jimmy G? I do not recall who is currently after Jimmy G right now. Let's see, Mike says, all backfield crossing, surprising, don't happen more. Braden says, we're playing so sloppy right now. Old man says, John Madden and JB would be great. And so, I mean, we both would go with the whole boom and all like that after every big hit. We would. We would. Absolutely. And so 80 says his favorite announcer is JB. And so I appreciate that. 80s appreciate that for sure. Appreciate that for sure. All right, but my favorite. Okay, so here's the question I have for you guys here. I know it's been a minute, but obviously on NCAA football, you know, just any version of NCAA football, you know, whether it's PlayStation, Xbox, what was your favorite offensive playbook to play with? Your favorite offensive playbook, and if you had a favorite defensive playbook as well, let me know that as well. But growing up, playing, or whenever it was when we used to have college football, NCAA football, what was your favorite playbook to use on a video game? Let me know that. Let's see. Braden says JM and JB. Ben says the football guys put an end to the Trey Lance shenanigans. The NFL needs the Garoppolo 49ers. Mike says John Madden, what's good with you? Braden says Joe Buck and Al Michaels. Jay says I like Vinny Lewis. Oh, you know what? Yeah, and Gary Danielson on CBS SEC. And so, okay, some SEC talk. And let's see, right now, about to get ready to call it on this poll because it looks like the Packers are going to win this poll. So I'll go ahead and call it here. And so there we go. So Packers in first place with 50%, followed up by the Vikings with 25%, and then the Lions with 16%, and then the Bears with 8%. And let's see. 80 says, I didn't play video games. I was too busy at practice, unlike some people I know. And so, hey, all I know, 80s, is that if the GOAT can get one day out of the week at home, then why can't the rest of us? If the GOAT can be at home on every Wednesday, why can't those of us who play Madden get one day out the week to go home and practice on our Madden skills? Let's see. Braden says he usually used the spread offense. I feel like there was a time that I used the spread. I think like for me, the spread might have been from 2010 to about 20. I would say about 2012, from 2010 to 2012. I did like running some of those options that West Virginia used to run back in the day when they had Pat Wright and Steve Slayton. Was fan of that as well. Meanwhile, fair catch assembled. And so the Bears will take over down by 14 points from their own 10-yard line. Let's see. Jay says, can't go wrong with Jim Nantz. That dude's a legend. Old says, run and gun and 4-3 Ohio State offense and Alabama's defense. So I did love the 4-3 defense. I had a strong preference for playing that inside linebacker position back then, especially when you had like AJ Hawk, you had Lattimore as well. Those guys in the interior of the Buckeyes defense. But meanwhile, here for the Bears, and so David Montgomery moving the pile here, going to pick up 11 yards and a first down here for the Chicago Bears. So they're still going out there running the ball, which I'm A-okay with. Anything you can do to make life easier for Justin Fields, I'm all for it. But the fact that your number one wide receiver, Darrell Mooney, has not been involved in this game, that has to change. Where does it end? Mike says, old favorite announcer Steve Tasker. Black Medicine says, wait, bruh, Tom Brady took out a $1 million PPP loan? I missed that news. That's news to me. Meanwhile, Justin Fields launches it and it's incomplete. But at least Darrell Mooney got his steps in right now because that's about all he's accomplishing at this point is just getting his steps in. I hope he's got his Apple Watch on. Braden says he's got NCAA football 13. And so I got NCAA football 14, but for some reason my version of it it's a little shaky. So sometimes I'll be in the middle of a game and it'll just freeze on me. So I don't like that aspect of it. Maybe I got a flawed copy now. Ben says, LOL, us poor people getting screwed by the PPP loans with this inflation. And Jay says, I've had some NCAA football road to glory players that threw like 100 touchdowns in a season. My goodness, Jay, how many minutes were you playing with? Jay? My goodness, I mean, what kind of schedule were you playing? My goodness. All right, meanwhile, though, they had gave the ball to Montgomery there off the right side there, and he picked up that first down. Let's see, Mike says, favorite helmet? You say white, Florida State helmet sharp. Mike says, pretty good game Friday, best one since Willis. Meanwhile, Justin Fields in the pocket. They're going to get him for the sack, and he's going to lose 10 yards. And it was Mr. Smith that had the sack that time. And so Justin Fields in the offense once again goes backwards. Braden says, good coverage. Black Medicine says, who is going to the college game on Saturday if you're streaming? And so, I'm sorry, you mean which game I'm going to be streaming there? Let's see, Mike says, Black Medicine, the Bills are going to beat your team bad. And so I'm thinking that this Saturday I'm leaning towards the Clemson and Wake Forest game is what I'm leaning towards right now. Meanwhile, they give it to the back. Off the left side, Montgomery making people miss here. Look at him go. He's still running. He's carrying somebody's fantasy football team on his back right now. 28 yards, taking it all the way to the Packers' 47-yard line. And so Mike says Jack in the Box or Hardee's. 80 says he got his steps in, LOL. Black Mason says, we'll be okay. As a Falcon fan, we expect nothing but beatings. Mike says, they popped him. Ben says, Hardy's easy. Braden says, no. Jay says, I'd love to see JB stream OU on Saturday night, but understand if you do something else. And so, yeah, this week I'm trying to see if I can find an earlier game there as opposed to later at night. I'm trying to find an earlier game there. And with the games giving me more options here, I may take that route, but I will see. Meanwhile, Herbert there at the carry. Okay. Okay, so now the Bears are starting to bust out some runs there. A good 27 yards there. Okay, bet. But can they finish in the end zone? Because if they can get into the end zone, it'll be a one-score game. Can the Bears come back here on Sunday Night Football? Let's see. Mike says Mariota some good passes. Jay says, I'll watch whatever you stream. Appreciate that. And so Chad says, what do you think about the Bengals helmets? And so I like the Bengals helmets. I do like the Bengals helmets. You know, I've been a fan of the Bengals helmets through the years, but I do like the improvements that they've made over the years. Braden says, no. Like Mr. says, Hardee's. I remember growing up in a small rural town where Hardee's sold fried chicken. And so let's see. Braden says the Bears did the cha-cha real smooth. But you look at penalties for both teams, and the Bears, they've got 6 penalties for 40 yards. Meanwhile, Green Bay just has 3 penalties for 35 yards. Let's see. Mike says the games less covered means more viewers, JB. And so that is true. That is true. That's something I did notice last year. I did notice that. I'll touch on that in a minute. But here we go for the Bears. They're going to give it to Herbert again up the middle. And so he's going to pick up 6 yards on the play. So now we got 2nd and 9 coming up here from Green Bay's 19-yard line. Again on this drive, 7 plays, 71 yards in about 3 minutes and 40 seconds of turn time possession off the clock. Mike says, don't like newest Dolphins helmet. All right, here we go, guys, from the 19-yard line of the Packers here. From up under center, Fields takes the snap, gives it to Montgomery off the left side, and he's going to pick up 4 yards on that carry. So now we got 3rd and 5 coming up, which is what you want. 3rd and 5, 3rd and manageable here. And so let's see what they call for Justin Fields. Do you call a play to get Justin Fields on the move here and stuff like that, particularly to the right side, get him on the move to the right? And I mean, Darryl Mooney, where are you? Where are you? And how can we get you the ball? But at this point, throw it to the guy who's going to get you the first at this point, or either scramble. I feel like Fields, he's been taking off and running all game long. Let's see if he does that again. They're 0 for 5 on 3rd down conversions so far. You don't win very many games like that. But they got 5 seconds right now in the play clock. Shotgun formation, takes the snap there. Fields going to keep it. And so off the left side, extends the arm. Let's see where they mark him at. Let's see where they mark him at. Will they give him enough for the first, or will they say he's short? And so an unfavorable spot there with the ball. They're going to say that he's short. So that's going to bring up 4th down here. The play will be under review. Let's see. Mike says, only thing I ever ate from Hardee's is bucket of fried chicken. Mike says, so 1,000 views, if not others covering, I noticed for you. And so, yeah, Mike, so I have noticed like some games, because like the bigger games, like whenever, for example, I stream perhaps an Alabama game, I don't think I get as many views when I do an Alabama game because there's so many people doing Alabama games and stuff like that. So I feel like some of the teams that aren't covered as much gives me more views than some of the bigger games. So I do feel that way. And let's see, Jay says, Jay, we've been getting a ton of views on Saturdays. I've noticed channel is definitely growing. And so that's right. The march to JB3K is so real. So real. Black Benson says, yeah, JB, so how about you stream the Colorado School Up to Death versus the Eastern Washington Correctional Facility football game next year? That game won't get too much media coverage, and for good reason. Mike says Rodgers looks way older than he is. It's all stress, Mike. It's all stress. It is all stress. I mean, how long have they said it has been since Aaron Rodgers communicated with his own, like family and stuff like that? I mean, the man sounds like he got a lot of stress in his personal life, personally. Not one to judge his personal life, but it sounds like the man got a lot of stress off the football field, honestly. And for Devontae Adams to rather go and play for Derek Carr than Aaron Rodgers, that tells me a lot. That tells me a lot. Let's see. Black Medicine says, "We Alabama fans prefer to watch it on our TV, sir." Braden says, "It's as real as Eli Manning's Super Bowl rings." 80 says, "March to 3K. March to 3K." Mike says he does crazy mushrooms or something. Ben says, "LOL, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a family. That's the problem." And Jay says, "Would you ever want your Patriots to have a dome stadium, JB?" No, no, no. I like having that home field. I mean, you guys saw the game against Buffalo. I mean, keeping it 1,000. If that first matchup against Buffalo, if that game right there is played in a dome scenario, would not have been good. Would not have been good. I like the elements and stuff like that. Of being a home field advantage type of thing. Many times when the Patriots played against the Colts, that did come into play, and it was an advantage and stuff like that. Later in the year, when we play Miami this year, I feel like it being in perhaps extreme weather will be an advantage for the Patriots and stuff like that late in the year to try to cool off that offense. And so I like having that advantage. So for me personally, Patriots dome never, never, never. But that's just me. That's just me. I don't have to play in those conditions. Let's see. Black Medicine, Braden says, "What black medicine?" Mike says he has a family but doesn't like them. Chad says, "How many Super Bowls does Rodgers have?" And so good old Rodgers with just one Super Bowl. Just one. Although it seems like it's been so long ago that it's almost hard to remember when. Braden, what year was that Super Bowl for Aaron Rodgers? Was that the one against the Pittsburgh Steelers? Let's see. Jay says one. Chad. Braden says one. Meanwhile, they're going to hand the ball up the middle there for Montgomery for 2 yards. Black Mason says Kraft wouldn't pay for a dome stadium. His money goes down to Jupiter, Florida, or for other surfaces. Ouch, 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 ouch. Let's see. Jay says, was it 2010? And so if it was the matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I feel like it was 2010 and stuff. You got to go back to like Clay Matthews and stuff like that. So 2010 sounds like about right, honestly, for that Super Bowl for Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. It does sound about right. Meanwhile, off the right side there, Montgomery picks up 2 more yards. So we got third down coming up, guys. 3rd and 6. At some point, Justin Fields is going to have to just make the throw. He's going to have to make the throw. This drive, 11 plays, 84 yards, 5 minutes and 38 seconds. If it doesn't happen now, it's just not going to happen today. So they got to get into that end zone. They have to. Mike says Bills Mega Stadium lights covered but open still. Mike says rain guard for fans. And so I feel like that's the important part. Make sure you have that for the fans so they don't suffer. Here we go. 3rd and goal. Can Justin Fields make a play to get them into the end zone? Takes a snap out of the shotgun. Feels the pressure. It's all around him. He's running. He has to make somebody miss. He's going to dive. And the ball touches the power line. Let's see what the referees say here. What are they going to say? What are they going to say? What are they going to say? Is it going to be a touchdown? Is it going to be a touchdown? What's it going to be? I don't think they're going to say this is a touchdown here. The play will be reviewed. And it is. It is called a touchdown, but you know they're going to look at that one, so we'll need to see the replay. But for now, that is going to be a touchdown. 12 plays, 90 yards, 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Turn time possession off the clock. Oh, they're going to look at the replay, and they're going to bring this back. That knee hit the ground before he reaches out. So yeah, that knee is definitely down. He's definitely short. They're gonna overturn it, and that point is coming off. That's coming off. Braden says 2010 season when butt fumble Sanchez upset the Patriots in the playoffs. Uncalled for shots, Braden. Gee. Braden says no. Lewis is still here. Lewis said he was in the background the entire time listening to everything being said, taking notes, so when his Bears come back, he'll be able to call everybody out for it. Braden says inches short. And so the call is reversed, so I go for it. Quarterback sneak. Let's not get fancy. Let's not get pretty. Either quarterback sneak or run some type of the Wildcat, something like that. Mike says my Bill Stadium is a bold. Lewis says knee was down. Chat says time is running out. The Bears, they need to move faster. Mike says come back. Braden says no, Mike. Jay says they should go for it. Mike says goes into ground. Server Rind. 80 says go for it. Ben says 1 inch to go. As Mr. JB would say, if you can't get 1 yard, then you need to be fired if you can't get 1 yard. That's what Mr. JB would say. So let's see. 4th and goal. They're going to line up in a shotgun. Take the snap. Fields is going to keep it up the middle. And let's see where they mark his forward progress at. I don't know the angle that they saw on that side. Was it enough? It looks like a stop. And they're saying it was a stop. So Green Bay's defense comes up with it. Wow. 80 says shots fired. Braden says stopped. Let's go. Lewis says bad call. I would have done a quarterback sneak. That's what I would have done, a quarterback sneak. Up the middle. I would not have done from the shotgun, though. I would have done right up under center. Quarterback sneak. Follow the center. Find that crease. Get in there and extend that ball if you got to. But I would not have done it from the shotgun, though. You give the defense a chance to react and to meet you there. And it's not like, Justin Fields is like the size of Cam Newton or something like that. So, no, I don't like that call. And let's see, Mike says, whoa. Ben says, they ever heard of a fullback? And Mike says, Homer says, though. And then Mike says, now you can't go to the boat shows 80s. Boat show 80s. And so there we go. So just like that, they had an opportunity to make this a more interesting finish here, but Green Bay will take over from their own 1 yard line, up by 14 points, 24-10 here in the fourth quarter with 8 minutes and 13 seconds to go. Lewis says, hand him the ball. Hand him the ball. On second thought, Lewis, as a small constellation prize, you did take the under in this game, so it helps in that regard. And so let's see. Braden says, our defense will stop you, Lewis. Lewis says, no way. Lewis says his middle name is Walter, and his last name is Peyton. So, ain't no stopping him. And again, right now, currently at the commercial after the stop here by the Green Bay Packers. Big time stop there by the defense. Talk about bend but don't break. But they are reviewing things right now on the sideline. So let's see. Play under review. So let's see. Now you look at this. You watch where the ball is. Just got to break the plane of the end zone at any time. Ooh. Wait a minute. I think on replay, if you can see the ball, I think that it does, but I'm not for sure. Ben says Lewis can throw a football over the mountains. Mike says give him the touchdown. Black Medicine says JB's third spin cringe is brought to you by part of Great Value Water. Great value, why not? Braden says yes. And so it is challenged out there. Let's see how it goes. But it's going to be upheld. I'm pretty sure it's going to be upheld. Because I can't see the ball. I think from where it looks like it, but I can't tell enough to overturn it. Alright, so it's going to stand. It's going to stand. So, not only do you lose the challenge there, you lose the timeout there, but I get it. I get it. You had to take that chance there, so I would have done the same thing. I would have done the same thing. Braden says big stop. 80 says I like Justin Fields. Lewis says touchdown, but that's not the case. Mike says I thought it was touchdown initially and still do. Mike says white goal line. And so, I mean, it's just hard to see the football in that pile to be able to give you an accurate assumption. If they had called it a touchdown before, I think they would have stood with the original call, but they called it not a touchdown, and you need clear evidence to reverse it. All right, but here we go. The Packers from their own 1 yard line here. Rodgers up under center. Snaps it. Going to give it to big boy Dylan. And Dylan moving bodies here, picks up 4 yards on the play. So now the Packers got a little bit more breathing room here from their own 5. And so let's see. Lewis says, well, under alive. Mike says, horse, you know what? 80 says, hometown refs, home cooking. All right, so shotgun formation here for the Packers. 2 receivers, 2 tight ends, 1 back. Receiver goes in motion. Going to give it to the back up the middle. And Jones is going to pick up 4 yards on the play. Ben says, should have done the Andy Reid shuffle pass inside. All right, but we got 3rd and 2 coming up here for the Packers here. 3rd and 2. They want to keep this drive alive. But if you're the Bears, you got to get a stop now. And, oh, look at this. Rodgers says, I can keep the ball too. And I can run as well. They sure as heck pay him enough to where he should take on some more of those responsibilities. That's for sure. But at first down there for the Packers. You see the look on Justin Fields' face there. Not happy about that. All right, but here we go, guys. 1st and 10. Ball at their own 12-yard line. Tight end goes in motion. 2 receivers, 2 tight ends, 1 back. The back's A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon brought down in the backfield. Going to lose a yard on the play. 2nd and 11 coming up. All right, so got another question coming up here. There we go. All right, so let's see. Braden says Aaron Rodgers read option. 80 says Rodgers ran better than an emergency quarterback. And so I'm not sure about that now, 80's not sure about that. Not sure about that. And so, all right, so far 2 votes already in. And again, the question is, which coach would you prefer? And so, of course, that means if you have your own team and stuff like that, which coach would you prefer running the helm there? So I'll leave that up there for a minute. Mike says, great question, JB and choices. Appreciate that, Mike. We like a good poll debate up there. We do. So 4 votes are in so far. And so Mike Tomlin here out to the early lead here. We've got 2 for Mike Tomlin. We've got 1 for Sean McDermott. And we've got 1 for Andy Reid. And so I know where Mike's vote went to. Let's see. O says no love for Bill Belichick, JB. Out of those, I'm taking Mike Tomlin. And so, well, O, I already knew where the crew was going to go with Bill Belichick and stuff like that, But just, out of these 3 coaches, 3 great coaches that I feel like are well liked. I went off of coaches that I feel like are well liked and respected around the league. Bill Belichick has the respect, but not very well liked by many people. So I went off of the most liked coaches I can think of. I mean, personally, I could make a case for all of these guys, because, Mike Tomlin, I like what he's doing down there in Pittsburgh, honestly. The man puts together a winning season. I've seen this man go out there at Mason Rudolph and stuff like that, but the team, he was able to manage guys like Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, those personalities. He was able to manage those guys. I find that very impressive. and stuff like that. Andy Reid, the longevity of it. I saw what he did down there in Philadelphia. They did not have a decent receiver for so long, but yet he still had that offense working and stuff like that. I've seen him do it with the Eagles and the Chiefs, and so I know that he can install a culture. He's very likable. Players don't really often complain unless they're just going psycho at the time. But yeah, and then with Sean McDermott, what he's currently doing now, very impressive as well, and stuff like that. How he has that team. So that's why those are the three options I went with. So we'll see how this poll goes out there. I'll leave it up there for a little bit. Let's see. Mike says, do we know coach on a hot seat yet other than Rule? So it's a good question. Other coaches on a hot seat other than Matt Rule? I would have to think about that. But let's see. Mike says, who Miami coach? I feel like Ron Rivera, if Washington goes bad, that he might be someone potentially on a hot seat. Meanwhile, Rodgers throws it up there, and he has a man. Sammy Watkins showing that he can still get it done. He gets it done when you don't start him in fantasy football. I promise you that. I promise you that. But wow, 55 yards taken to the Bears' 33-yard line. And Aaron Rodgers just making it look like a simple walk in the park, honestly. Let's see. Mike says, who's Miami coach? Mike Daniels. Let's see. Mike says, who's Seattle coach? Pete Carroll. Ben says, Miami hired a serial killer as a coach. Mike says, time for quarterback change for the Steelers. And so, personally, I would have started Kenny Pickett from the beginning, and I still would insert him at least by week 4 at the latest. After week 4, probably at the latest. But here we go. Aaron Jones. Going to take that one to the 15-yard line. So Aaron Jones off the right end there picks up about 18 yards. They're taking it to the Bears' 15-yard line. But yeah, I feel like Kenny Pickett can just take this offense to another level. Think about guys like George Pickens. I feel like George Pickens can step up his play if he has someone like Kenny Pickett in there at quarterback. Mike says he looked mysterious, Ben. Braden says, bang, there's the dagger. Mike says, you can put it on the board. Yes. Eddie says, yes, it is, Braden. And so, interesting though, the third timeout and final timeout called by the Bears already. So they don't have any more timeouts the rest of the way, guys. They're down 2 scores here. Green Bay's trying to make it 3, and no timeouts to work with here moving forward. Let's see, Braden says Kenny 2 gloves. All right, so 4 minutes and 54 seconds to go. 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back. Receiver goes in motion, takes a snap, gives it to one of their receivers here, and he's going to pick up a yard in the play. Let's see. Braden says the Bears still have 1 timeout, and so okay, yeah, I was confused there. I was looking at the side on the scoreboard there, and it said the Bears had used their 3rd timeout there, so that's what threw me off there. I saw that there was it said their 3rd timeout there, but I see that they still have the 1 timeout up there on the screen. All right, so Mike says Miami coach yell receiver. Mike says can't wait for tomorrow's 2 bangers. JB got the call. And so that's right. We will have 2 of those games going on at the same time. Well, around the same time. Obviously not starting the same time, but around the same time. And we get to see the Vikings and the Eagles tomorrow. Excited about that one. Here we go. Rodgers going to give it to Jones. But Jones, he's going to lose some yards on the play. About 2 yards on the play. 3rd down coming up. 4 minutes left to go here in the 4th quarter. Mike says calling Eagles game with Josh Allen occasional touchdown alerts. Braden says now they don't have any timeouts. All right, but here we go, guys. So again, 4th quarter here. The last 3 minutes and 35 seconds to go in the game. Green Bay up 24-10. Let's see. Thinking about the question earlier about coaches who are on a hot seat. Mike McCarthy. If the Cowboys go out there and they look bad, Dallas got to blame somebody. So Mike McCarthy may be that guy that gets canned at the end of the season. All right, but here we go. So first time out taken here by the Green Bay Packers here, and so when they come back, they'll be facing third and 11 from the Bears' 16-yard line. And so far on this drive, 8 plays, 83 yards, and so we'll see how this transpires. Let's see. Again, next Thursday, will be the Steelers and Browns for on Amazon Prime Thursday. So certainly looking forward to that matchup there between the Steelers and the Browns Thursday, and then next week. Looking at some of the games ahead for that one, you've got the Ravens versus the Patriots, and of course later in the week we will go ahead as a group and select what teams we got winning. The Chiefs and the Colts. Ooh. Will Indianapolis win a game anytime soon? Because Kansas City's going to be going down to Indianapolis. So then you got the Saints at the Panthers, Texans at the Bears, Bills at Miami. Bills at Miami. I really hope that I get to see some of that game outside of the NFL Red Zone for the Bills in Miami, but that's going to be a great one next week. Detroit, Minnesota, another interesting one. Bengals and Jets. Raiders and Titans, Eagles and Washington, Jaguars and Chargers, Green Bay and Tampa Bay, Rams versus Cardinals, Falcons versus Seahawks there. I feel like the Falcons, that's a potentially winnable game in that scenario. 49ers versus Broncos, Cowboys and Giants. And okay. All right, let's see. 80 says, how did the Pats beat the Steelers? Well, 80s, football is a game of matchups, honestly. You think about Mika Fitzpatrick and all like that in the secondary. Well, they're good for, stopping a team that's going to pass heavy, but our team is not reliant on the pass. So when your strength is to stop the pass and get out to the quarterback, and we don't really rely too much on that when, I knew it was going to be a low scoring game, and that's where we excel at, a low scoring game. So it just so happened we didn't make the mistakes that we made in week one. And you look at how Miami torched Baltimore's defense. So that tells you that the Patriots defense on paper, as of right now through 2 weeks, look better than Baltimore's defense. So we actually looking pretty good now that I look at it defensively. Meanwhile, Rodgers moving around, throws it, and it is bobbled and caught by A.J. Dillon. 6 yards, fourth down coming up. You got 3 minutes and 5 seconds left to go right now here in the fourth. And again, the Bears cannot stop the clock. Let's see. Mike says, JB, USFL got lots of views, and so that it did. Ben said, oh, Bills at Miami. Yes, Bills at Miami. We're going to find out, Mike, what is the gap? Is there a gap between the Bills and Miami? We're going to find that out. We're going to find that out next week. So I will be looking forward to that one for some of the earlier games. Mike says, Bills crushed Miami so bad. Mike says, JB3K going to get that ticket soon. And so meanwhile, Green Bay goes ahead and calls their second time out here. Mike says Belichick got here what that cut called. Mike says party and back. And Ben says, has anything ever been goofier than the Bears trading up trading up for wait and see the rest of that. From 3-2 when Watson and Mahomes still on the board. And so you know what, Ben, in hindsight, you know what? I can't even. You know what? I will say it as a Patriot fan, out of spite, I'll say the Patriots drafting N'Keal Harry rather than getting someone like A.J. Brown, D.K. Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, all the guys that actually do something. But no, we went with the Joker, N'Keal Harry, who's currently on the Bears roster. I haven't seen him at all. Don't know if he's still hurt. Don't know and all that stuff. But yeah, but yeah, I get what you're saying though, Ben, and I agree with you there. But the Packers did get a field goal there. And so 2 minutes and 28 seconds left to go in this one. Packers up 27-10. Mike says, yeah, every Belichick pick. And so that is not the case, Mike. Ouch. That is not the case. I mean, Belichick was right when it came to guys like Asante Samuels, Richard Seymour, Vince Wilfork, Logan Thomas, all those guys. I'm sorry, not Logan Thomas, Logan Mankins and stuff like that. He's made some good, solid picks throughout the years. It's easy to remember the bad, but he made some good picks. I mean, and we didn't even mention Tom Brady, so he's made some good picks. Braden says Aaron Rodgers is the Bears' daddy. And so Braden not holding back at all. Kickoff on the way. All right, caught at the 5, the 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Braden says N'Keal Harry. And let's not forget, Damian Harris was a Patriots draft choice. We did not sign him. We drafted him. We drafted Ramondre Stevenson. And so, we just don't talk about the good picks. J.C. Jackson, drafted him. Let's see. 80 says Bill Belichick picked Steve. You call that good? And so Braden said, good game, Lewis. All right, we got a penalty here. We got a penalty here for holding. But again, this game right now, 17 points the difference here. So the Packers are going to get their first win of the season, and they're here at home for this victory. Meanwhile, the Bears will get their first loss here, and it's a pretty big loss inside the division here. But these two teams will meet again later on. You just never know how things are going to play out. And that time, Fields throws it behind St. Brown on the play, incomplete. 2nd and 10 coming up. 2 minutes and 18 seconds to go here in the fourth. Again, Green Bay up 27-10. Old man says Cole Strange looks like a steal, and he drafted the best receiver in playoff history. Elderman, yeah, I stand behind best receiver in playoff history. Here we go, 2nd and 10. Fields has it in the pocket, moving around, avoiding the rush, throws it, picked off. It is picked off. It is picked off. And so that's tough. Bears no timeout. They do have the 2-minute warning, but after the 2-minute warning, there is nothing else to stop the clock. And the Packers know that they have already won this game. That part we've already known. But hey, congratulations to Green Bay here. First win of the season, big time, at home, division opponent. That's what you needed. That's what you needed. And so Jay in the Bay, what's good with you? What's good with you? Jay, talk to me, I'm sorry, Jay. How do you feel about, obviously, I know you're devastated about Trey Lance getting injured and stuff like that, but I know that you got to believe that the 49ers offense is in good hands with Jimmy G. I know that you've been one of the 49er fans who have been very sound about keeping Jimmy G on the team. And hey, good thing that they listened to you, Jay, and they kept Jimmy G on the roster. Meanwhile, AJ Dillon up the middle, no gain, and 2-minute warning. But man, I mean, who is going to be the quarterback behind Jimmy Garoppolo moving forward and stuff like that? Because we all know with Jimmy G and his injury history, stuff like that. So who is going to, I guess, quarterback number 3, now quarterback number 2 behind Jimmy G? Let's see. O says Mac Jones, Jimmy G. Braden says we partying tonight. Let's go. Mike says yeah, 80s. He's not good enough looking to meet other women, only supermodels. Who else owed? Let's see. Braden says G's 80s. And so let's see. Oh, I didn't even see the comment that 80s had. He says if TB12 gets divorced, we'll be go to massage parlor with Robert. 80s. Wow. Wow. 80s. Gee, that is harsh there, 80s. Wow. Lewis says, well, safe to say I'll go 9 and 6. And so, absolutely. But wow, 80s. Gee. All right, let's see. Ben says Deshaun Watson is required to get massages for massages for community service. So he's gonna massage Brady if he's divorced. I don't think Brady wants that path there. Mike says they traded someone for good return. Old man says another great stream. JB, everyone have a good night. Appreciate that, old man. Thank you for coming through. Absolutely, and I hope everybody has a great start to the week. And of course, it's still 2 minutes here, so I'll stay for the remainder of this game here. But they are going to go ahead and run out this clock. Again, Rodgers up under center here. multiple tight ends, one receiver, and a back in the backfield. And that back is A.J. Dillon. They give him the carry, and he's going to go off the left guard here, still on his feet. Picks up 5 yards on the play. Now we got 3rd and 4 coming up. And of course, the mission is to run out this clock. They need one more first down to do it. And let's see, Jay says we're in decent hands. Suck for Trey. And so that's right. But any other team, though, they'd be scrambling right now. But the Niners, though, because you guys still kept Jimmy G on the roster, you guys, it doesn't change the assignment and all like that. If anything, I think it's going to help guys like Kittle and stuff like that get going. So, but we'll see. We will see. Mike says, what up, Bay? Eddie says, good night, old man. And so Jay says, what's good, JK? And O says, I say 49ers bring in Kellen Mond. Meanwhile, they're going to give it to A.J. Dillon. And Dillon's going to pick up a first down here. Picked up 5 yards on the carry. So that means we're about to get ready to see that infamous victory formation that every team wants to see their team do in the fourth quarter. Mike says, night, old. Braden says, good night, old. Jay says, we got we got Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy to back up Jimmy G. So that's right. You know, I almost forgot about that. I almost did forget it. Well, I did forget about that, actually. But yeah, appreciate that. Okay. Mr. Brock. And so Lewis says, 80s. Let's see, Mike says, who quarterback pass drafted that they traded for like 5 years ago, JB? And so 5 years ago, I hope you're not talking. Are you talking about, what, Jacoby Brissett? You said drafted that they traded. It sounds like Jacoby Brissett when we traded him to Indianapolis. Lewis says, good job, JB. Another awesome stream. And so, yeah, I appreciate you, Lewis. And so on the bright side, you did get the under there. So you did win some money on this game here. So you got to feel good about that. And it's just one loss there. You're 1-1. So got to get ready for next week. Let's see. Mike says he said the thinking part about Mr. Kraft and him. Old says Jacoby Brissett. Mike, can't forget him. Stidham, Zappe for backup quarterbacks. Mike says another banger, JB. Braden says Packers versus Buccaneers next week. And then Mike says they good, but still not who I'm trying to remember. Was it Jimmy G? And so, from that trade there with Jimmy G, yeah, we had Jimmy G and we did trade him to the Niners back then for like, what, a second round pick? Was it a second round? Yeah, I think it was a second rounder. Let's see, Ben says LaFleur is so unlikable, it's hilarious. 80 says JB, I called the score. Braden says, good night, JB. See you tomorrow. Yeah, good night to all of you guys, and appreciate you for coming out here. And I hope everybody has a great start to their week and stuff like that. And of course, I'll be back again for Monday Night Football. It'll be the Vikings versus the Eagles in that matchup. And so, certainly, if you have some time, do come through for that one. But appreciate you guys. Take care. And JB's going to go ahead and end the stream now. But appreciate you guys again for coming through. You guys are the real MVPs. And see you guys next time. Lewis says, peace out, everyone. Be safe. Mike says, Jimmy G was a good pick. 80 says, later, Lewis. And Mike says, night, y'all. So, yeah, again, appreciate you guys.